From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Drussel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. Hey, 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 all you two people waiting.
Dude, no, you need to put your glasses on. That says 200.
250 here. I'll put those on. And then everything's blurry. This is just for reading.
Really?
Yep.
Garrett, why are you wearing your glasses today?
Garrett, why are you wearing your glasses?
Dude, I had strep in my eye.
What?
Also known as
How do you get strep
pink
in your eye?
Right? Is strep in your eye pink eye?
Not necessarily.
Okay, because people were making jokes about
So wait a
my
minute.
kids farting in my face while I was sleeping. Because I had strep,
right.
dude, it was so bad. Yeah, I feel better now, though. How are you feeling?
Hey, Ann, how are you? Here they come. Here they come. Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth. How you doing? Yeah. So how did you... Okay, I knew the girls had strep,
Yeah.
but you didn't get strep throat. You got
Right. in
eye
my
strep?
Yeah, it was super weird.
That.
It looked really bad. It hurt really bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
But your throat didn't get sore?
Nope. How do I look in these, though?
You look fine. Yeah.
Do they, hey,
Did it
Larry,
ruin your vision? Oh, we hadn't even... we hadn't
that?
got there yet.
Hey, I know, but I was going to ask Larry. We have a guest today.
Yeah, well, I was just
Go.
blew that.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm just teasing. So, anyway,
Go.
he's right. Yeah. You guys, if you've listened to some of our earlier podcasts, we had this unknown mysterious figure
From somewhere.
from, well, he told everybody where he's from.
Oh, yeah, he's from Philly.
He's from Philly. He drove all the way down here, not just to be on the show, but to visit.
Yep.
I'd like to say he drove just for the show. But everybody, let's give a big hand for Larry.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I'll figure it out.
There it is. Yeah, you did it.
Nice, thank you.
Hey,
You're
I was-
welcome.
I was going to ask Larry, though, do these look like BCGs?
No, they're way too stylish.
They are?
and fashionable.
BCGs, those are Army issue. They stand for birth
I
control.
mean, they do have the turtle
glasses.
shell going on.
I
There.
know. Yeah, okay.
But I mean, I don't shape-wise now.
Okay, good. This color, though.
The color is definitely.
Okay.
So, Garrett, how have you been?
Good. No, I've been good. We've
Besides strep eye, has
really-
anybody out
really
there heard of
busy.
strep eye? I think he's lying.
something,
Strep
dude.
eye.
It was weird.
Are you sure it wasn't pink eye?
It could have been.
How do you know it's strep eye?
My doctor told me.
Did he actually take a swab and
No,
swab your eyeball?
because she just came up to the gym and saw me.
Oh, you've got a
very
doctor that
scientific.
actually comes to where you're at.
Train her kids.
Ah,
So I sent her a picture and she said, I'll be up
Makes
there tonight.
sense.
Let me look at it. And we had these funny joke going. I was like, it's good to see you. You know, and she's like, I know. And then she went from here. She's like, I think you got strep in your eye.
God,
Shit. Yeah.
that's fascinating. I've never heard of strep eye.
Yeah.
Pam, have you heard of strep eye?
Not specifically, but I know different organisms can cause pink eye, so
Yeah, essentially
it's
that's what she said. It was like, yeah, it is caused pink eye. But
Right. Well, strep is dangerous, though. I mean, it can.
and you can actually develop what they call strep rash.
Right. I've heard of that. Strep.
I have heard of that.
Yeah,
Like Larry's got that on his head right now.
Yeah.
strep rash.
I was just teasing.
serious business though, because if it goes to your heart,
Mm.
major issues.
Right. So
we know about hearts in this room.
we do. Everybody got your Death Wish coffee?
Speaking of, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my second cup. Love it. I wonder if Randy's out there yet, because I know Randy. He said he's scared of it. He won't drink it. Hey, Pam W., how are you? Savannah, good to see you. Kanoki 3. Hey, look at me reading without glasses. Tim Bray.
You're like Benjamin Button.
Absolutely.
Can we start calling you Benjamin Button?
Ben-
You're,
Yes.
you're reverse aging. That's great, dude.
So everybody got their Diet Dr. Pepper and coffee or beer or whatever. And, first of all, Pam, how was your week?
Powerade.
It's been busy. It's been trying. Majority of my
Okay, that's enough. So let's carry. No, your story
Majority of
has
my-
become tiresome.
tiresome. Majority of my work crew has gone on vacation right now, so
They're
That's
at.
nice of you, though.
Tell everybody where they're at.
they're in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yes.
That's nice.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Hey, but does it make you feel better, like, to know that Thursday night's coming and we get to do this?
Oh yeah.
Because it does for me.
Oh yeah.
Like, we've been working real hard. I'm like, dude, I cannot wait for Thursday night.
Oh, Kanuki 3. We know you.
We sure do.
Hi, Aunt Doug.
Hello. And Mel.
Yeah, it's a long story.
Hello. Mel, Melinda, you need to drop that last name part. That's going a little overboard, hun. Okay. We'll talk later about that. Melinda. Okay. So we are going to talk about the Elisa Lam case. So how many people are familiar with that one? Me? Yep. Even Larry knows about
Pam
that
didn't
one.
raise her hand.
Pam didn't raise.
Oh, sorry.
Pam's going to be going over the pharmaceutical part since she's a nurse.
Hey, I'm glad too. That's going to be important. That's going to be important in this.
Okay. Believe it or not, I got not believe it or not, but I do have a little, my slideshow. So here we are at Disney World. All right. So that went way, okay. You know, if we didn't have a mistake, Garrett,
It wouldn't be the show.
it wouldn't be the show.
Exactly.
It would not be the show. Okay. So, Elisa Lam, she was born on April 30th, 1991, a Canadian student at the University of British Columbia of Vancouver, was recovered from a water tank atop the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles on February 19th, 2013. She had been reported missing January 30th. Can you imagine?
Dude, I'm just reading it. They can't see my body language, but
You can read along if you want. I made your
I'm,
script.
I'm reading yours, but it's weird.
I killed a tree just for you to read along,
It's
Garrett.
really weird. This story is really weird.
It is. Okay, Lam, the daughter of immigrants from Hong Kong, was a student at the University of British Columbia. Elisa decided to take an adventure type of trip through California's West Coast. Did you guys ever do that in college? Like, before I'm going to go to college, I'm going to take this trip. We're going to go to Hawaii.
No, we were just getting hazed most of the time.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I forgot to mention.
Our college experience was vastly different than most college experiences.
Yeah, Larry, which some of you guys know, Larry went to West Point with Garrett. So they're West Point guys. And I bet, man, we should have one show just about West Point and
We could
talk.
definitely do that. You know, there's a lot of haunted
Yes.
things with it. Yeah,
There's a lot of haunted
remember
stuff.
The room? We had personal guests stay in those rooms.
Yep.
Okay. So Elisa decided to take an adventure type of trip through California's West Coast. Lam traveled alone, which I don't think Garrett was a good idea, or Larry, or Pam.
No, terrible idea.
Especially on the West Coast. And she took the Amtrak and inner city buses. She visited the San Diego Zoo and she posted photos taken there on a social media. On January 26th, she arrived in Los Angeles. Her plans was to travel to Santa Cruz after her stay in LA. She checked into the Cecil Hotel near downtown Skid Row. So I got to ask you guys, because you've been around all over the country. Have either of you been by the Cecil Hotel before, Larry?
No.
or
I've not been by it. No,
I lived
It's
in
not-
LA, but
yeah,
there's
I
it's
don't want to go.
massive.
I didn't want to go down there.
What?
That's Skid Row.
You
Yeah,
stay
I
away
don't
from
wanna
Skid Row.
go
Like when I lived in LA, there were a couple of times where I accidentally ended up in like Compton and like
Oh my
you know,
God.
some bad places, like just on accident because I didn't know where I was going. But
Yeah.
you knew not like don't go Skid Row.
Yeah,
I told
Like, I
you
was
I
fine.
did that in Philly.
yeah.
I took
Yeah.
the wrong turn.
Did you go to Camden?
I don't know. I don't know. I was.
You probably
All
did.
I know is there was
It's
like
probably up north.
Oh, it probably was North
next
Philly.
to
I was-
LaSalle or Temple.
Yeah.
I was in the bad neighborhood,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I remember calling my friend, going, "Hey, dude, where do I go? How do I get out of here back to the interstate?"
Yeah. So Skid Row's like that, except times like 40.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
Or
like
50.
tents. There's tents everywhere.
Dude, down the street. I mean,
Yeah.
just like it's bad.
So you want to stay away from Skid Row, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, her plans was to travel to Santa Cruz after her stay in LA. She had checked into the Cecil Hotel near downtown Skid Row. Lam was initially assigned a shared room on the hotel's 5th floor. However, her roommates complained about a certain odd behavior, and she was moved to a room of her own, room 412, after 2 days. You know, and I searched everywhere trying to find out what was this odd behavior.
Can't find it.
No, man, if we could, it'd be cool if we could find
the roommates.
the
I
roommates.
know, but the thing is, they're staying in these roommates are staying in a hostel, like a hostel.
Yeah,
Hostel.
don't tell
Hostel.
anyone.
Yeah, hostel, right? And it's like, yeah. So, and they're probably from Europe. Probably can't find
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
There's
We'll
no way
never
we're gonna
find
find
them. But anyway, hotel staff said the day of her disappearance, she was alone outside the hotel. Katie Orphan, a manager of a nearby bookstore, now get the name of this bookstore. It's called The Last Bookstore.
That's
There's all these weird coincidences with this place. And she was the only person who recalls seeing her that day. She was outgoing, very lively, very friendly while getting gifts to take home to her family, Orphan told CNN. and she was talking about what books she was getting and whether or not that she'd be, if it'd be too heavy for her to carry around like in her book bag. Elisa had been posting updates on her blog about her trip, but lost her phone at a speakeasy before her death. The speakeasy is somewhere hidden. It's a hidden bar called the Varnish. Do you guys know where that's at?
Nope.
I do not.
Because you've never been down a Skid Row.
Right.
At the back of Cole's French Dip, about 2 blocks from the Cecil. There is no advertising for this place because they can't afford it. You would have to know where it is to find it.
I wonder how she found it. She's like a Canadian.
Right.
Trip there.
Yeah.
I wonder if like some of the people she
She
stayed
told her,
with or
yeah.
something maybe said, hey,
Yeah.
I
The
know-
concierge at the
Right.
Cecil.
Okay, so Lam contacted her parents in British Columbia every day while traveling. On January the 21st, 2013, the day she was scheduled to check out of the Cecil and leave for Santa Cruz, her parents did not hear from her and called the Los Angeles Police Department. Her family flew to Los Angeles to help with the search. Police searched the hotel to the extent that they legally could. They searched Lam's room and had dogs go through the building, including the rooftop. Can you think of, can dogs smell through metal containers though? I mean,
I think so.
You
Yeah.
think they should-
Oh yeah.
so you think they should have got that scent?
I have no idea.
But she was
You
in
would-
water.
I know that's she was in water, so I don't think they smell water, right?
I don't know.
Well, in most cartoon chases I've seen, they usually hop in a river
Yeah,
and
but
they
that's
can
typically moving water, like
Well,
a river. or-
See, I'm thinking like they would have something, Pam, like something wise. Well, we was in West Point. You hid in water to keep away from the dogs.
Yeah.
You
No,
got
I was thinking about.
belly through the creek.
I was
West
thinking
Point,
about
we were like,
drugs.
I don't want to go to swimming class.
Yeah. But no, I was thinking about like drug dogs. Like surely
Yeah.
they can smell through like cars and containers and
Yeah, they
you
can
know.
smell containers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's weird.
Very much. So anyway, where was I? But he said we didn't search every room. This is Sergeant Rudy Lopez. We could only do that if we had probable cause to believe a crime had been committed. On February 6th, a week later, after Lam had been seen, the LAPD decided more help was needed. Flyers with her image were posted in the neighborhood and online. It brought the case to the public's attention throughout the media. Her disappearance had been widely reported. Interest had increased 5 days prior to the body's discovery when the Los Angeles Police Department released a video, and we all know that video, don't we, of the last time she was known to have been seen on the day of her disappearance by the elevator security camera. God, you need to start reading these
No,
again.
you're so good. You have a great radio voice.
I
Please
do
keep
not.
talking.
I'm just reading. I'm not going, hey, in the footage, Lam is seen exiting, re-entering the
This
elevator,
is even better.
talking and gesturing in the hallway outside and sometimes seeming to hide within the elevator, which itself appears to be malfunctioning. The video went viral on the internet, with many viewers reporting that they found it unsettling. Explanations range from the claims of paranormal involvement, homicide, to a bipolar disorder, which Lam took medication for. It has also been argued that the video was altered prior to release. Have you guys heard of that?
Kyle
The-
and Larry did.
What, it being altered?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read it, and it said there were arguments that the timestamp was obscured, and also there might have been like a minute of footage taken from it.
Yeah, I was thinking about, the in the corner, I was trying to blow that up so I could read
Yeah.
what the times were to see if there was any time
Because
missing.
why
from
wouldn't
it.
they?
You couldn't find it, could you?
No, I
Yeah.
couldn't. No, could.
But again, we're talking about the Cecil Hotel on Skid Row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could have
Elevator.
some.
The worst camera in the hotel is the elevator.
Yeah, it's like surprise. It's not like 8mm film.
It's grainy.
I mean, to think it might be glitchy
like-
isn't too far fetched.
Like the old baseball games of the 20s. Like,
Okay.
No,
No,
what we're saying,
wait. No laughing.
Yeah.
No more laughing. We got
Yeah.
in trouble, Larry, for laughing.
Ooh.
we had 2 people get mad at us, Larry, for laughing during our show.
And I said,
We can't bring them back.
No. Okay, I hate when I stop because then I forget what I'm saying. In the footage, Lam is seen exiting, re-entering the elevator, talking and gesturing in the hallway outside, and sometimes seeming to hide within the elevator, which itself appears to be malfunctioning. The video went viral. I know I already read this on the internet, with many viewers reporting that they found it unsettling.
settling.
Explanations range from claims of paranormal involvement. I already read the whole thing. So on February 19th, 2 weeks after the video was published by authorities, maintenance workers Santiago Lopez found Elisa Lam's dead body floating in one of the hotel tanks. Lopez made the discovery after responding to complaints from the hotel patrons about the low water pressure and a weird taste coming from the tap water.
God
Can you
bless.
imagine?
God bless.
Can you imagine?
No.
Staying, I mean,
Oh my god!
Oh.
If you stay there, you're drinking the water, and you're like looking around, you're like, "Hey man,
this tastes like a
this
dead
tastes
body."
so weird. Like, why is the water pressure so low?" And
Someone
you,
said
a
it-
week later, they're like, "Oh, we found a dead body." I'm like,
Yeah,
you know what? Everybody's getting.
lady
lost
said it had a sweet taste to it.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah, one lady who was staying there, she said, "Yeah, it had this unusually sweet taste."
Yeah, her and her friend Satan, they just left.
So go,
Dead body water.
Marnie in chat says, I always use bottled water to brush my teeth at hotels now.
That
Yeah.
is- wow.
Good plan, Marnie.
Yeah, seriously.
oh my
I
God!
just don't brush my teeth.
Sorry, guys. I just got through throwing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It looked. You guys can't see this, but Garrett looked like he's actually starting to gag when I brought that up. Okay, according to a statement by the chief of the Los Angeles Fire Department, the tank in which Lam's body was found had to be drained completely, then cut open from the side to remove her 5'4" frame. Nobody knows how Lamb's corpse. Corpse. Stop it! You're gonna get me laughing. Floating lifelessly next to the same clothes she wore in a surveillance video, ended up in the hotel's water tank, or who else might have been involved. Hotel staff told authorities that Lam was always seen by herself around the hotel premises. So because of her odd behavior, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a drink of my coffee.
Man.
Death Wish coffee, guys. 600 milligrams of caffeine in 1 cup.
You're all right though. There are a lot of coincidences, and it is just extremely bizarre.
Yeah, let me
This chain of events is so bizarre.
Weird.
let me go to the next picture here. Okay, here's what freaks me out, Garrett, and you can look on hers if you want to.
Oh yeah, I got you.
And whoever is texting me, stop it. So, we're gonna put this under here. Anyway. Okay, so you see Garrett where the fireman's standing up there, right here.
Yep.
Okay, now if you think about standing on that, right here, you'd fall to your death. I mean, if a good wind or you lost your balance,
yeah.
I mean, and I think how many stories is it?
10.
10?
It's 13.
No, it's
Oh, is it
13.
13?
No, it's
I
It's
thought it was
got
10.
it's got yeah, I think it's 12, isn't it?
No, the elevator game. I thought you had to have 10.
have to have 10 to play all
Some
Oh, just okay.
some of our
A minimum of 10.
minimum 10.
Okay, gotcha.
okay, we'll say minimum 10, but one of our wonderful chat people looked that up. Please.
Regardless, you would die.
Regardless, you die. Yeah, I mean, and you know how I hate heights, man. I would be.
You do?
Oh, I hate them.
I love heights.
I can't even get on the roof.
I
of my
love
house.
getting on the roof. I jumped off the roof like a year ago. Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, the circumstances of Lamb's death once she was found also raised questions, especially in light of the hotel's history in relation to other notable deaths and murders. Her body was naked with most of her clothes and personal effects floating in the water near her. It took Los Angeles coroner's office 4 months. I wonder why it took that long. After repeated delays to release autopsy report, which reports no evidence of physical trauma and states that the manner of death was accidental. Guests at the Cecil, now rebranded as Stay on the Main, sued the hotel over the incident, and Lamb's parents filed a separate suit later that year. The latter was dismissed in 2015. Some of the early internet interest noted what were considered to be unusual similarities between Lamb's death and 2002 horror film Dark Water. I've never seen that, I
I
don't think.
briefly looked it up, and I guess it's a Japanese horror film.
Is it,
It's
have we
like-
watched
it's
that, Pam? And I just don't remember.
I guess that a family moves into like a rundown apartment or something, and it's haunted, and the floor leaks above them.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
as
wow.
far as I read.
Okay. I'm glad you're well versed here.
In Japanese horror films.
Yeah.
I know.
I had drugs tonight, so
You're good.
Deceased, yeah, and she doesn't mean she's on drugs. By the way, she's going to be because she's a nurse. She's going to be covering the pharmaceuticals.
Oh, I thought you meant you were like literally
that's
on
what I
drugs.
thought.
That's what I thought.
I was like, damn,
was like,
Pam's on drugs.
Pam's on drugs. Pam has a drug problem. I didn't know about it. Okay, well, the Cecil Hotel has a bizarre history, right? Since the opening its doors in 1927, the Cecil Hotel has been plagued by 16 different non-natural deaths, unexplained paranormal events. The most famous death associated with the hotel, other than Lamb's, was the 1947 murder of the actress Elizabeth Short, also known as the Black Dahlia. That'd be a case, Garrett, to do too.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Who was reportedly seen drinking? She was seen drinking at the hotel bar in the days before her grisly demise. The hotel has also hosted some of the country's most notorious killers. In 1985, who stayed there, Garrett?
Richard
Yes.
Ramirez,
Yeah,
the Strangler.
the Night Stalker,
Yeah.
also known as the. I'm making him do part of this.
Monstrous
Night Stalker. And he lived on the top floor of the hotel during the monstrous killing spree. The story goes that after the murder, Ramirez would dump his bloody clothes outside the hotel and return half naked. Back then, the hotel was in such disarray that Ramirez's nude stunt barely raised an eyebrow. I mean, he could probably walk that way downtown in that area, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And he-
Yeah,
definitely.
It wouldn't look like.
Yeah, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
So 6 years later, another murderous patron moved into the hotel, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger, who earned the nickname the Vienna Strangler. He was a big admirer of Richard Ramirez, which led him to staying at the Hotel Cecil. So he killed prostitutes, and his hero was Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
He was the one who used lingerie, right, to strangle them.
I think so.
Yeah,
I didn't
it would
do
be
a-
cooler if his name was the Vienna Sausage Strangler.
That's true.
Just throw that out there.
That's
What's
true.
that? Say it again.
Please say it again.
The Vienna Sausage Strangler?
He said that'd be cooler if that was his name.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how did he
Hey.
die? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Viewer see through, catchy name, in
It is
chat
catchy.
says that in dark water a child is in a hotel water tank.
Oh.
Weird.
Said it's eerie. Watch it.
Oh, that sounds
Sounds
good.
interesting.
We got to
Yeah.
put that on the list. This sounds out of place, but we'll just go ahead and go with it. Do you guys got Lopez at the top left corner?
Yep.
Do you?
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
Right here.
No.
Yeah.
right here. Okay.
Yeah, the next one.
Okay. Lopez said that he took the elevator to the 15th floor of the hotel before walking up the staircase to the roof. Then he had to first turn off the rooftop alarm, climb up the platform where the hotel's 4 water tanks were located. Finally, he had to climb another ladder to get to the top of the main tank. Only after all that did he notice something unusual. I noticed the hatch to the main water tank was open and looked inside and saw an Asian woman lying face up in the water approximately 12 inches from the top of the tank. Lopez's testimony suggested that it would have been difficult for Lam to make it to the top of the water tank on her own, at least not without anyone noticing. The hotel's chief engineer, Pedro Tovar, also made it clear that it would be difficult for anyone to access the rooftop where the hotel water tanks were located without triggering the alarms. Only hotel employees would be able to deactivate the alarm properly. If it were triggered, the sound of the alarm would reach the front desk as well as the entire 2 top floors of the hotel. Now, this is what they said during the court hearings being sued. So, of course, they're going to say all that. Like, it would be extremely hard.
Right,
but
right.
as you and I found looking through some YouTube videos, it's not that hard.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah, I'll show you guys a video in a little bit of how you can get up there without even going through those doors. Because I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I
there's
thought,
places like that
That's
in New
what I
York City.
thought,
There's
too.
places like that in New
Yeah.
York City.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's not uncommon.
the fire escape's easy. Okay, so Elisa's parents filed a lawsuit against the Cecil Hotel, stating the hotel guests should have not been able to have had easy access to the roof and be able to have access to the water tanks. However, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Howard Helm ruled that the death of Elisa Lam was unforeseeable because it had happened in the area that the guests were not allowed to access, so the lawsuit was dismissed. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's I see their point. Like, well, they're
There's
saying,
probably
well,
s-
the
yeah.
thing is, they're saying, well, she shouldn't have been up there anyway. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that kid shouldn't have went over the gate and jumped in that pool.
But
You
for
know?
them,
Yeah.
they probably have a sign like
The signage is up, I think. You
Yeah.
still take liability.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you can just throw
I
a
don't know,
sign
yeah,
up that
I thi-
says this is only accessible for employees only,
Yeah.
that probably saves you. But I think she went through a window, did she not? Climb through a window or something? Isn't that one of the theories?
No, I thought she walked up the staircase.
No.
Oh, she just walked. Okay.
Either she walked up the. We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
It's all in the outline here. If Garrett would have came to rehearsal, he would have known that. But,
My wife made me late.
yeah. Anyway, so let's. Okay, up here, Garrett. This is what I was showing you. This is what scares. Look at that. So that's
Yeah.
12 stories, I think. And just, man, I can't even imagine that. I'm going to go through see what the next one is. Okay, that's the computer found. I'm going to go through these so we can just kind of, and there's some change. And that's her. There's not a whole, there just wasn't a whole lot of
Right.
pictures.
Yeah.
Of course,
Well,
and the crime scene is just pictures of the
Well,
the water tank.
It wasn't even a crime scene. Like initially.
Well,
That's why
exactly.
they
and
didn't have probable cause to
that's-
look at all the rooms. Like
Yeah, that's a great point.
that's what's so weird about it.
Yeah, that's a great point
Yeah.
because I didn't think about that. You're absolutely right. There wasn't a crime scene
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Because they ruled it accidental drowning.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
It's
she did.
just so odd, though. It is so strange. It's so strange. It's actually, I don't find it strange that she made it to the Cecil Hotel, though, honestly. Like having
What do you
traveled,
mean,
I like having traveled by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I was young, you know, and just
That
like
makes, no, that makes total sense to
yeah,
me.
yeah. I was thinking about like the Tempest.
Yeah,
Like when
exactly.
they're talking about the bar she went to and she left the phone. There was a place that we would go to in Hell's Kitchen called the Tempest.
Yeah.
Oh, how?
And then like nobody knew about it. Like you could go when you're 18 years old, but we knew about it. So
It was very word of mouth how I got
yeah,
around.
so
though.
it's kind of like the same place where she left her cell phone. So I see that part of town. Obviously, we're not in Skid
Yeah.
Row, but you know it is that. But
I know,
coming,
yeah.
like coming from a small town like we did, that it to us it's still crazy. So I could see how she could like find this cheap hotel and get there.
I agree.
Right. So
Yeah, so that's probably the reason she stayed, right? I
Yeah,
mean, just because
yeah.
it's a cheap place to go.
yeah.
Do you think she went because of the notoriety of the place, or do
Well,
you think
she
it was
may have
only
heard it-
because of budget wise?
Oh, I was gonna say
I would
budget.
say budget, yeah.
and
Yeah.
She probably heard the word like a hostel,
Yeah.
because and that's what you
because
would
yeah,
stay
she
in,
was
like-
known for staying in hostels.
Well, yeah, in like Europe, you stay in hostels and stuff like that. So I don't. She's from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't find that to be too crazy. But once she saw like where it was at,
I would have been like, eh.
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's some signs like
Well, there's film. You know, I watched some film footage of it, of right by the Cecil, and there's like just guys laying in the middle of the street.
yeah,
Yes.
And then there's
It's a
tent,
whole different world,
like,
dude.
It's like tent world there,
It's
like
sad.
a
It-
mini Woodstock or something
it
without
is-
the
no,
musicians.
It's really sad. Like it's one of the probably the saddest places in America. Like it's.
But
terrible.
in West Hollywood's turning into that though too. I hear. I heard it's getting
Is
bad.
it?
Like the homeless. They said the homeless problem in West Hollywood now is horrible.
Well, in LA in
Yeah.
general.
Well, in general, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
skyrocketed.
Hey, I lived there whenever the recession crashed,
Uh-huh.
and literally like the next day, people were like stealing bikes. Like you couldn't like leave a bike out front because it's such a crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Though? Like so, it is. It's a bad area. So it's weird that she didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
I mean, she had already gone to San Diego. She took Amtrak. See, when I
Right.
heard, I thought she was taking like Greyhounds, which I was like, okay,
Yeah.
she's like, have you ever been on a Greyhound?
Oh, many times.
Dude, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't prefer to travel on a Greyhound.
I don't either. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean
not
the
my
bus
favorite.
station was scary enough for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
right?
so
Yeah.
so
I mean, I remember a
Agreed.
guy. I remember a guy pulled his sandwich out of his pocket. It wasn't even in like a plastic bag. He just
Yeah.
pulled his sandwich out of his pocket and he just starts eating it.
How
And
did,
look-
well, how did it look? Like,
do what?
was it surprisingly fresh looking? Were you like, wow, he must have big pockets?
It was. It was fresh looking.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
weird.
I would do that.
But
Oh, that's 100%.
that's so
But
Garrett.
Garrett's-
Did you hear what he said?
100%.
Did you hear what he
100%.
said? Oh my god.
Everybody take a shot. Garrett said 100%.
No, Larry did.
Larry
I
did.
said
Well,
it.
Larry did. I thought. Okay, both of you.
That's crazy. That's where I get it from.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some of the strange happenings at the Cecil. And so, let me ask you this: do you think? I mean, probably in that vicinity, right? I mean, there's got to be other hotels,
Oh yeah.
right?
I think so.
That's
Yeah.
just as cheap, but I still think maybe I think yes, budget, but because it's the Cecil's, like that'd be kind of cool. And the
That's true.
hostel, the
Yeah,
hostel
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that. Yeah.
Was she into that kind of stuff?
I don't know.
It's hard to say
Yeah.
because
Well, she was into like fashion and stuff like that.
she's
wasn't
big
she?
time
Yeah.
into fashion.
It's true.
And
Which,
she
if you're thinking about LA, I mean, you could find a cheap place that's close to like that's not on Skid Row.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to.
Yes.
But really, so I don't know. So that kind of begs the question. That's what you're asking. Like,
yeah, I mean.
I get that. Yeah.
Just because of the notoriety of it, people, most people know. I'm sure she did too. She's a very intelligent girl.
Yeah, she was.
And so she probably saw the Cecil and said, "Hey, what the hell?"
I mean, she was
It's cheap."
obviously she went to the San Diego Zoo.
Yeah.
You know, she went to the bookstore. She found that little hole in the wall that only locals would know.
Right. Right.
Which is like, I get that. I like to do that kind of stuff. Like, where are we gonna go? You know.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense. Yeah, she could have been there just for the Cecil,
It does.
which makes it kind of creepy, even more creepy, honestly.
So at this point, let's. Do you guys want to watch the video of the surveillance video that I'm talking about? All right. First, let me show you guys this. This is kind of weird. Yep, not that. Right there. Okay. If you can't hear me, it's okay because there's no. I mean, if you can't hear the video, it's okay because there's no sound on it anyway. But this is a way to get to the rooftop of the Cecil. And let's start it right now. So now he's looking down. That's the fire escape. So he just climbed up the fire escape. Okay, now he's on the roof. That easy. He got there from a landing.
Yeah. Wow.
Now he's walking towards the tank. She was found in the tank. You can't. It's out of sight. It's the one behind the one with all the white stuff on it. Okay, so this guy is now walking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's walking through this way. Okay, he's looking at the tanks, and she's, like I said, in the back far right. So you're trying to think, how do I get up there? So he keeps walking. Now there's the two doors they thought she may have came through, but you can see there's an alarm on it.
Right.
And the alarm was never set, or it didn't go off. So I think she went the fire escape. Okay, so now if you come around this little corner, you see this red staircase. Can everybody hear me, Pam, or am I cutting out big time? Okay. So, God, I hate heights, man. That makes me weird.
This is kind of fascinating, though.
Okay, now look. You see the ladder right next to there. So basically, what this guy does and what she probably did, she climbed up the ladder. Now she can just kind of step over the side rail, get to the ladder thing.
All day.
Now she's on the roof. Now she walks over, and then there's the water tank.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting to me, you guys. Look, this was, I'm going to pause it right there. This was taken years after this happened.
That's what I was going to ask.
The guys say, we always keep the lids closed.
Yeah.
Notice there's a lid open.
That's crazy.
The other thing, too, is that, I heard that they actually had locks on them.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. You can go up there, and everybody made it sound like, oh, little Elisa couldn't have lifted that lid. They said they're 20 pounds.
Right. That's right.
So she could have flipped that open, absolutely no problem. But there you go, and that's the tank there to the far bottom on the far right. Right there is where they found her in there.
This is a year after?
This is 2017 is when this was published. Now, I don't know if that, how people publish, it doesn't mean it happened in 2017, but I do know for a fact it was after that, right?
Right.
All right, so here's a surveillance video. We're going to show that. This is weird. And one thing I want you guys to watch, I'm going to pause this again, is I know it's just a camera trick, but this part is creepy to me where she starts moving her hands. It looks like her bones are gone. It's like she's got fake hands in her shirt sleeves. Have you watched that, Garrett?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So she's in there. She's pushing every button down the middle. And this is important. I'll tell you why here in a minute. And she's standing there. The door is not closing.
Which is weird.
Okay. There's an explanation for that. The fourth button on the bottom is to hold the door.
Oh,
and they said it so the door stay open a very long time. So if you're moving furniture up there or moving back, that the door wouldn't run into you. So that's bunked. That's debunked. That's the reason the door stayed open. A lot of people didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
So she's looking out. It's like someone's chasing her or something. Like she's, hiding from somebody. You like my blow by blow? I'm doing on this.
No, I love it. No, because this is, I'm in it.
Okay, she jumps out like she's startled and back in.
Retreats.
Goes back out. Goes to the side. Yeah.
Steps.
Hey.
Yep.
I think you're going to have to pause the video or go off. Chat's giving me all kinds of feedback that your audio's breaking up real bad while the video's running.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Are you going to figure this out? Are you going to figure this out?
I've tried. It's a glitch. Pam, type in there. I'm going to let them watch the video, and then I'll go back to the deal. I just want everybody to see the video. They don't have to hear my stupid voice anyway. God, that fan makes it sound like we're outside. Pushing all the buttons. Watch your hands, man.
I know. It's bizarre.
It is. I know my voice is crackling, chat room. I'm sorry.
It almost looks like she was doing like sign language for a second.
That's what it looks. Yeah, it kind of looks like that. We're about done here. And
I remember seeing that. Remember, I always mentioned I was kind of like a news junkie back in the day.
Yeah.
And so I'm like somewhat familiar with like some of these cases. I remember watching that for the first time.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's just a creepy.
So kind of to revisit it.
It's a very creepy video to watch, and
Whew.
so let's talk about that video a little bit.
Man.
Now, as I'm sorry my voice is cracking. I do not know how to show a video without my voice cracking, so we're gonna have to.
Hey Larry, can you sort that out later?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Or get Blake.
Yeah. Or
Figure
Blake.
it out.
Yeah, Blake. Yeah.
Blake's in town, right?
Yep, Blake's in town.
So if you guys didn't hear me, the people were wondering why was the door staying open so long. The fourth button she pushed at the bottom is called a hold button, and the staff said there that it keeps the door open for quite a long time. They set it like that so people get furniture in and out and trash in and out without the door shutting on them. So that's why it looks like it did.
That makes sense.
And her
That's
hand,
awesome.
her hand thing freaks me out. What is
does,
she
it
doing?
It's so weird.
Yeah, and just like she's, she gets in normally. I mean, I don't see, like she just, but why was she pushing,
Yeah.
and that goes to the elevator game.
It
I guess
does,
we can talk
yeah.
about here in
Yeah.
a minute.
But the hands thing, it's almost like she's like in it, but also like when I'm watching it, I'm just like it almost like she's trying to mesmerize something, It
Yeah.
really does, like doing some voodoo,
Like
like magic. Yeah, is I don't know, it's very odd.
Right. Yeah, it is
And
strange.
then she's like super calculated when she's moving left. She's like sidestepping.
Well, do you think she? I
Like
mean,
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
That's what
but
I
yeah.
feel every time I watch it. I'm like, oh, Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
so with the door not, with the door, do you think that freaked her out when she was in there? She pushed 3 buttons and the door's not shutting. Do you think that kind of startled her a little bit and maybe started bringing on some anxiety, some paranoia, possibly?
I mean, it could
or
have triggered her.
something
Yeah,
like
for
that?
sure. It could have triggered her for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're both claustrophobic.
Right.
And I actually got stuck on an elevator with Kennedy. Remember that story?
I
And
do.
dude, it was terrifying. Like
I hated
Kennedy is
it.
traumatized by it. But my thing though is like, what you do is you would probably look down at the buttons and be like, oh, okay.
I immediately just start pressing alarms.
I would just leave.
Yeah.
Like, is there a phone?
She did. She was having an episode.
Yeah, I mean the thing was in pushing all those buttons, I'm surprised the alarm didn't sound.
Right,
But,
well, I
but they're
mean-
really fast. They're like ding ding real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's the Cecil.
Is anybody in the
It's an
chat room
elevator at
got
the-
any?
It's an
Anything
elevator
to
at the
say?
Cecil.
Just a lot of discussion about, it looks like she's definitely having some type of an episode.
Yeah,
Is she
Yep.
crazy?
That's what I lean toward.
Discussion about her being bipolar, psychological issues,
Which we're gonna
taking
get into.
versus not taking her medication.
Right.
That the video's super creepy.
You mean it's
It
not a
is.
demon that chased
Yeah,
him?
I've
Yeah,
heard
she
possession,
looks,
I think,
she
has
looks
to be
like
on the
she's on
table.
something that was mentioned earlier. Did toxicology from the autopsy indicate if there were drugs or alcohol in her system?
Right.
Hey, are we gonna touch on like the paranormal side, because I know like most of the common like reaction is this is mental illness, but
The first
we
time I
have-
saw it, it was labeled as a possession video.
right.
Yeah.
But I think since more people have dug into it, but can we please touch on that later?
Yeah. But,
Because I
if
don't want to discredit that, because a lot of
Yeah.
people discredit the
Well,
paranormal side of it.
if he was at rehearsal, he would saw it says paranormal.
Yeah. Well, okay,
Next page.
I mean, it was the inspiration for
I
American
just-
Horror Story season 5.
I just wanted to make sure.
So you guys can see who does most of the work here
Oh,
at the
man.
show.
I always say you do carry the torch, Keith.
Yeah, but I'm going to start splitting shit up with you.
I know.
No bad language.
Yeah. Hey, I just
Okay.
like the torch.
So let's read a few. There's,
I like to throw
I've got
gasoline
ma-
on it.
I've got like 3 things that was weird
Until
about.
Keith is burning.
I should have burnt my sage, huh? All right, and so some strange happenings at the Cecil. In September 1944, 19-year-old Dorothy Jean Purcell was awakened by severe stomach pains while staying at the Cecil Hotel with Ben Levine. Careful not to wake Levine, who was sleeping in the bed beside her, Purcell went to the bathroom and, to her surprise, gave birth to a baby boy. How do you not know you're pregnant?
Dude, it happens a lot. Happens a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. The teenage mother was completely shocked, having no idea that she had been pregnant. After Purcell delivered the infant completely alone and unaided, she thought the child was stillborn and tossed the boy's body out the window.
Touchdown.
The newborn landed on the roof of a neighboring building where it was later discovered. An autopsy revealed the baby had been born alive. Purcell was charged with homicide, but a jury found her not guilty by reason of insanity, and she was sent to a hospital for psychiatric treatment. Yeah, think?
That's probably where she should be. For
Yeah.
sure.
And the more we read about this, there's those theories out there. Well, the Cecil does something to you when you go there, man.
Yeah.
Takes over your
Yeah.
body and
Right,
possesses
yeah.
you.
From the medical community on that one, I'd say postpartum
Right,
depression
that's what I
versus
was-
psychosis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which for me, I'm like, you should be in probably a psych ward, not prison.
Yeah.
Like prison wouldn't fix that shit.
No.
Yeah.
That's
So that's why
That's a different
I'm just,
level
Yeah,
right
I'm just
there.
making it like very clear that when I said that good, that's where she belongs. Is I'm glad that she got that help.
how does
'cause
the autopsy determine that it was alive before the baby?
That's a good question.
I
They're probably-
just wondering.
yeah.
Pam?
Interesting.
At that time, I really couldn't say for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
What if
Yeah.
she,
with
what
the
if,
medical technology at that time.
well,
I mean,
and
there's-
it could have even been her saying like, I heard the baby crying as the baby was. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there could have
Yeah.
been something later when she actually got some help where she was like, oh my god, like the baby. So there's
Yeah.
there's no way to tell, but
But
that is a good
even
question.
even so, if you had a stillborn, let's go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right. Well, she had problems.
She
That's
had
what I was saying. I'm
issues.
glad
That's right.
she's
yeah,
like, yeah,
absolutely.
She obviously had some issues, but it goes back to the Cecil thing.
But the Cecil just attracts crazy people.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
All right, so one of the other things, in 1931, a 46-year-old man, W.K. Norton, was found deceased in a room at the Cecil. Apparently, Norton had checked into the hotel under an alias and taken his life by ingesting capsules filled with poison. North wasn't the last person to take his own life at the Cecil. Many people have died by suicide in the hotel since the 1930s. There's been several reports of people jumping
Right.
out the window.
Yeah.
And this one's kind of weird. In 1962, a 65-year-old man named George Gianni was walking past the Cecil Hotel when he was hit by the body of Pauline Otten, 27 years old, who had jumped from the window of her 9th floor room. Following a fight with her husband, Otten leapt 90 feet to her death, not knowing she would also end the life of a complete stranger. The passerby, Giannini, how do you say that? Gianni, maybe, was killed
Giannini?
instantly, proving that even walking past the Cecil Hotel can be deadly.
That is insane.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
That
Can you imagine
is-
just walking down the street? I mean, I would probably, if I was anywhere near the Cecil, I'd be looking up or
Yeah,
running
yeah.
past
Can
it.
you imagine watching that from across
I
the
just know what I'm
street?
saying,
You're just
even
like,
that.
Oh my
Like,
god!
did I just
what
see
just
that?
happened?
Oh, I know. That's crazy.
Jeez.
Like I did that.
What a
just happened,
coincidence.
did it?
Oh my god.
Talk, Garrett.
I was freaking out. I was telling Kyle a story about me seeing a dog get ran over the other day, and that freaked me out.
No, it freaked me out
What?
too.
Yeah. The lady
Oh,
put
that's
it,
horrible,
the,
man.
the lady
kinda
put it in
weird.
her trunk and then drove off.
Isn't that like a serial killer tendency? She's like, oh man, I ran over this corgi.
She
Better
did
put it in my
what?
trunk."
She put it in her trunk.
She actually, really?
I think it was still alive as a corgi. So my theory is, since corgis are lower to the ground.
Absolutely, low center of
I've
gravity.
talked about this a lot. It kind of freaked me out. Yeah, there's like 6 other cars watching.
what did that have to do with her getting hit by a car?
No, I was saying that traumatized. No, I was saying it traumatized me. So can you imagine
okay.
watching a dude get hit by a body flying off the
yeah,
Cecil?
absolutely.
It does go to your point though about Cecil being maybe just attracting this kind of craziness.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say that, so never mind. Let's move on.
Okay.
Because, what do you,
If you got something to say,
well,
is it bad?
no, yeah, well, I don't
Whisper,
know.
whisper it in his ear
Well,
first.
Okay.
let me think about it, okay? I just, yeah, it kind of is, or it sounds stereotypical, maybe. Maybe you guys can figure out if I said that. Okay, Garrett, your favorite part. All right, the different theories of Elisa's death. Okay, paranormal. Some people believe that a demon chased Elisa and that she was hiding from the evil spirit and ran to the rooftop and jumped into the tank to escape this demon or ghost. A lot of people ask why the elevator door did not shut, which I just explained. She unknowingly pressed the hold door button, which we talked about, and the hotel staff said that the button would keep the door open. But anyway, so let's talk paranormal. All right, so were we watching a possession? She obviously could have been thinking she saw a ghost,
Right.
or something chasing her, or somebody chasing her.
Or I like kind of like what you were hitting on earlier though. Is the Cecil? Is it like a vessel that attracts people that are weak at that time, like feeds on their weakness?
That's what they say.
Because we've talked about
Yeah.
that with like Dr. Corelli, Kathy Nance, every single our last paranormal, which is awesome. They all mention that at some point. Every single one of our paranormal episodes. So
I mean, it's
because it's reoccurring.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about all the horrible things that happened in there, there's got to be some bad residual negative
Right.
energy that's just floating
Right.
around there.
Absolutely.
But I mean, to actually cause you to the extremes
Right.
of jumping into a tank full of
I
water
know.
or jumping out a window,
Or throwing your baby, or like
yeah.
No, I know. Yeah.
But I mean, do you think?
But
I mean, do you
can-
think there's something
Does
that
that
could
kind of
be?
evil exist?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
And
It's just compounding on it
That-
on itself
yeah.
there.
Right.
right. So,
Right.
I mean, is it possible that there is very negative energy there, maybe demon spirits or something like that, that are possessing people, and these people aren't aware of what they're doing?
Right.
But
Well,
that's scary if
There's places
demons
like that.
have that kind of power.
Well, maybe it's a collective though. Maybe it's a collective energy from multiple. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but even that's scary.
Because I,
mean,
know, but then
it's-
people would. The other counter argument to that would be I've asked about battlefields in the past, and I actually thought a lot about that. Like why if the Cecil Motel was haunted and attracted weaker people, why wouldn't something as bloody and as violent as a Civil War battlefield be the ultimate place where people are coming in? And I think the difference is why that death and carnage happened, right? Like at the Cecil, it's people committing suicide, throwing babies. It's insane. Like Civil War battlefield, they're fighting for a cause. So it's
Right.
not. And so in this instance, I could actually see that like being the case. Like knowing the history of it, I would see
Yeah.
it more as a vessel. So if she went in there, she could be completely possessed.
Right.
All
but
these
there's-
people could.
But there's lots of stories of Civil War battlefields having
There are.
hauntings and things like that. So
Right.
I think maybe just
Well, pure
death
numbers.
associated with violence.
But those
Right.
hauntings don't
But
usually seem
pure-
like evil like that though. Like
Well, pure
But,
numbers.
wouldn't it, but a lot of that to me would be residual energy, which residual
Yeah.
energy isn't active. It's just energy that was left over from the war, the battle scenes.
Right.
So you might see, like, a soldier at 12 o'clock that walks
Yeah,
across the
walking.
thing.
Yeah.
It's just
The
like
fog.
energy.
Right. Well,
So,
and-
but it doesn't necessarily have an effect on people.
Well, and weaker people, and I hate to use the word weak. I'm saying people that are vulnerable in a vulnerable mental state or physical state. They're probably not visiting the Civil War battlefields.
Or more open
Yeah.
to
Oh, exactly.
the paranormal.
Exactly.
And easy-
exactly. So
easy
now I'm
to-
talking demographics.
Right,
like,
and then
yeah.
easy for the spirit to manipulate.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so
Right.
this almost is like the perfect place, like right off of Skid Row.
Yeah.
A hostel where
Yeah.
there's people coming in and out, like plenty of souls to take. You know what I'm
But
saying?
and if you think about that area, I mean, the sadness and despair of those street people, that's all over that area.
Right.
All over that.
And that's what we talked about last paranormal episode was the holy water, which was so insane, right? Do you guys remember the holy water talk about where he said that they took the different samples of priests?
Right.
And that when you molecularly, they were structured differently,
Right.
right? And so,
But tell them, and what Garrett's saying is they did an experiment where they took different holy water. One guy yelled at this holy water and said horrible names.
Yeah.
One guy praised and said
Right.
nice things. Well,
And the third one was just water.
it was a neutral cup.
Yeah.
But they noticed that the one that they yelled at was dirty, started becoming like a dirty water.
Yeah,
It wasn't pure. And the other one where they said nice
It
things
looked
and
beautiful,
positive, it was
yeah.
beautiful, crystal clear.
Yeah.
So, but I think thoughts and words we do have a powerful energy like
Right,
that. Amongst
and-
all of us have that.
Well, and I was explaining that to Cass as a newly converted Catholic, why that like really resonated with me was because you believe in that. Like when you were married in a Catholic church. I was in that wedding. Thank you, it was an honor. But that holy water you want it to mean something. But as you do it a lot, like me as a Catholic, sometimes you're like, you take it for granted. You're like, okay, I didn't put the holy water on my head, and you just go to
Right.
sit down, go to mass, whatever. But when you see something like that, then you're like, oh, collectively, if 1 million people are doing this around the world, that kind of energy does exist.
Right.
So that's really interesting to compound with.
Yeah,
the
and like
Cecil.
I've always said, I think we create our own world. I mean,
Yeah.
we create the things that happen to us. If we're negative all the time, then we're going to bring that kind of energy.
We're gonna be susceptible.
Those people
Yeah.
who are like Eeyore that are like, oh man, my day sucks,
Yeah.
But they're getting up and that's all they think about. That's all they concentrate on. They don't concentrate on it being different, positive, a better life.
Can I tell you real quick what my philosophy actually over the last week and a half has been?
What's that?
I've been asking all my kids this, right? What do you think the happiest animal in the world is? Like, honest answer.
A dog.
What do you think, Larry? Happiest animal in the world?
pig.
Pamela, what do you think the happiest animal in the world is?
I think that's a complex question.
It's a goldfish.
A goldfish.
Because it has a 10-second memory. So it's just always positive.
So, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I've been telling people, be a goldfish today. Like, be a goldfish.
Be a goldfish.
Because if you get in the habit of it, right, then you're happy. But
Right.
if you're
That
bringing
makes
that
sense.
negative energy, so I see how that compounding, like, because that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, all this stuff just reoccurring in the Cecil over all these periods of time.
Just building,
in a really,
building.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, should we take a trip to the Cecil?
Yeah, sure.
I would. I mean,
Yeah. Knowing what we know, well, because we go in protected, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think.
yeah. You know me, I get scared anymore.
Yeah.
I would go. If you two went, I'd go with you.
I would go with Larry anywhere.
Yeah.
Look at him. He would take off his
We'll
shirt
do
and
it,
start
yeah.
fighting ghosts.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that guy's name?
Push him through the door first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all you girls out there, you can't even see him, and we got big eye candy over here. This guy's a weightlifter, huge. I'm surprised we can even get in. Well, I couldn't get through him.
I know.
Getting out the door.
Hey, you were
We
like,
actually
hey,
took
can
the
you,
door off the hinges so I could sit down.
Yeah, yeah.
hey, you see his shirt?
What's his shirt say?
It's Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. Love it.
Sorry.
Okay, so what's our okay? So, is there a possibility that paranormal caused her to have this episode she had? And now let's not think about the medication. Let's just think paranormally.
I'm only thinking paranormal.
Okay, to out of her mind, go up to the top of
Yes.
the roof and jump into this tank of water.
As per what I've taken from the conversations you and I have had, and Larry and Pamela, and with our guests, and through true crime, aliens, Bigfoot, all that, and time travel.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely possible.
right.
I don't think anything's impossible.
I definitely
So-
think it's possible as well.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well, and I think,
concur.
huh?
I concur.
Yeah, because I think what Garrett said was really important about is the state of someone's mind
Right.
at the time. If you're in that kind of negative state of mind, depressed, whatever, and a negative energy can just grab onto you
Yeah.
and maybe have that kind of power
Right, yeah,
over you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 3 saying it possibly could be paranormal.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at homicide. Okay, some people think this was a homicide, that someone was stalking Elisa and caused her death. I rule out homicide.
I definitely rule out homicide.
Now, there's been people too that said, well, who took her phone? How do we
Right.
know he didn't track her through,
Well, if you've been to a
Followed
tavern,
her.
if you've been to a tavern like that, I mean, you can forget a lot of things.
Yeah,
I mean, you forget stuff all the time.
all the time. So do you.
So do I. Constantly forgetting things. I forgot my shoes the other day. I showed up somewhere. I was like, oh my God, I drove all the way here without shoes.
Okay, so
I don't think it's homicide.
here's what I came up with. It'd be exceedingly difficult to carry a body up the stairs
Absolutely.
to the roof and then climb a ladder carrying a 120-pound body up to the top of a water tank. Then removing her clothes. Why remove her clothes at this point?
Right.
Then throwing her down into a tank. There was no sexual assault, so why waste your time
was
and,
no
and take a
bodily
chance
harm.
of getting caught by
Yeah.
removing all her clothes? You just throw her body in a tank, right? Fully dressed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, realistically, she would have been killed. I mean, you'd have to kill her in a hotel and then moved her body because she had been screaming the whole
Well, and
time.
how did you kill her?
Well, he left
have to
no
kill her by hand.
evidence, like
Yeah.
nothing. Not, and then just decide to
Right.
keep the clothes on.
Right,
Like, it's
yeah.
weird.
Right.
Right. And so Lisa was always seen alone. No surveillance footage of her with another person of suspicion.
And that's important because that's
Very.
very like common knowledge. Like, and people were very willing to put that kind of information forward.
Yeah.
So we know that to be a fact. And so, yeah, I completely rule out homicide.
Yeah, because I've heard people say, well, man, what if they killed her first? And then and I was like, and drag her body up
Yeah.
there?
Oh my
And but
God.
first of all, our autopsy shows drowning. That was the
Right,
cause of death.
right.
There was no, and in fact, there's a few, I think, minor scrapes. They said that which they think she got from going down that little square hole, like
Well,
scraped
yeah,
her arms.
Yeah.
But other than that, there wasn't a mark on her.
Right.
She just was, she had got water in her lungs and she died.
Well, the scrapes that shows that she was determined,
Yeah.
obviously. But no, I can. I mean, I think people underestimate too, like carrying. Because we talked about this with the Delphi murders when we were trying to rule out the fact that the murder,
Taking the bodies
the
back.
crime scene was somewhere else. We were like,
Right.
First off, taking a willing person somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult.
Yeah. And if you have to carry them, right?
Yes.
Or move them. Taking an unwilling person, even harder. Taking a dead person, the hardest.
The hardest.
The hardest. Like 100. I'm not gonna say it.
100%.
100%,
Everybody
dude.
take a shot.
120 pounds though. You're carrying up the stairs and you're getting them through. I mean,
But especially a ladder.
dude, you saw the video.
How do you
Yeah.
do that up a ladder?
I know
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm gonna. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna hold you with one arm.
Tie your
Fine.
arms.
One arm.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Now, Muscle Man over here might be able to do that.
Yeah.
Tie their arms.
Here, throw Pam over your shoulder. See if you can go on the roof.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm just a tad more than
But it would be completely difficult.
To go up a ladder,
Yeah,
would you even do that?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
seems
Is it
impossible.
physically possible?
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would it be
You're right.
difficult?
No, thank you, Pamela.
Most likely.
Yeah, and
Somebody would have gotten seriously injured on the way up. Let's just say that.
well, now you're,
What
yeah, because
if
you're
you just
talking.
hold her with one hand, right? But I'm just climbing with one hand and 2 feet.
Yeah,
I'm just dragging it.
Okay, but let's also
120 pounds in one hand.
No,
of
no, that's
uneven
not a
weight.
dumbbell.
It's not a dumbbell. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
that's
It's
it.
unbalanced.
think
Yeah.
about this though. The fire escape. That's the second set of ladder. First set of ladder.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So now you're going and sorry. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got a chance of dropping her. 12,
what I'm saying.
12 stories
Then
down
up
and
the
then
stairs.
and then
Through the thing,
Right.
or over. See,
Yeah.
and I think because she was 5'4", I don't think that she climbed over. I think she just kind of whoop underneath and got on and just all the way up.
yeah.
So, but to do that with somebody else, I mean, come on.
That was another thing that was funny. It wasn't funny, but when the parents took the Cecil to court, the maintenance guys said, "Well, we never leave ladders there, and there's several like 100 people go over there, and there's like a ladder against the tank.
Right.
First thing they walk into is a ladder.
Yeah. And we always keep the door shut, like ching ching, and there's a tank.
Dude, I
the
can't
tank's
believe
One
open.
time you think they would
Honestly,
close it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a ton of cameras.
But you know what freaked me out? The rumor I first heard is that the top was padlocked, and I thought, oh,
Whoa,
that's
yeah.
homicide.
That's different, yeah.
Yeah.
How did? Because she couldn't have padlocked herself
Right,
in.
right.
But then that found out that was just a rumor. Those lids just open, and they're there.
Well, you pointed out in the video.
Yeah.
Tell them
What?
about the lid.
Yeah, it's 20. It's a 20-pound lid. It's really heavy. What you're talking about?
And
It's
in the video,
easy.
It's
was
open.
it closed?
No, it was
No.
open.
It was left open.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
unbelievable.
Not one. But I think it was two.
Yeah,
On
man,
there.
and I feel really bad for the family. Like I think that
yeah.
I think that the Cecil should be held accountable, but there's ways around. I mean, that's what we always go back to the legal side of things.
Yeah.
Some signage, you know what I'm saying? Like leaving a ladder out isn't necessarily. I mean, it's not negligence if there's a sign and that person shouldn't be up there. So it sucks. But
Yeah, but even those signs won't protect you against a lawsuit. I mean, it's the same thing like having a swimming pool. If I have a gate around it and say a neighbor kid dies in my pool,
Yeah.
I'm going to get in trouble.
right, yeah.
That's all there is to it.
What if you had a sign up that said absolutely nobody in this?
I don't think it matters. I
What
think
if you're a
you
business,
have
though?
to totally prevent that person from getting into that dangerous situation.
Then why was
That's the way the
case-
courts look at
I know,
it.
but then why was the case dismissed?
What do you, I don't know.
Wait, the parents'
Was it
case?
dismissed or settled?
Oh, was it settled?
No,
I
no,
don't
it-
know.
I thought
no.
it was
That's what I'm
dismissed.
asking.
Well, yeah. Well, what they're saying is there wasn't enough evidence against the Cecil Hotel,
Right.
Because they were saying and they agreed with the Cecil. They said she was in a place she was prohibited to be.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That sucks. The family should have gotten paid
Right.
for that. The Cecil is it's that easy to do that. All these crazy people. Like you think that thing would be like Fort Knox?
Yeah, but I mean, you think also the Cecil couldn't probably even have handled a $100,000 lawsuit,
Oh,
or
definitely.
you know what I mean?
No,
And
not at all.
Mona in chat says they were running a shady hotel.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't want to admit negligence.
Right.
That's absolutely what it is because
Yeah.
all these photographers went back. They took pictures of ladders. They took pictures of the lids open.
I wonder what it looks like now.
It's no. I bet you money if we got on a plane, we went there.
We could get
and
on top of it.
I bet we could get up there.
Hey,
But-
let's do a fundraiser. Everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat.
Kickstarter?
yeah,
Yeah. Throw that PayPal. No,
yeah.
I'm
Put it in
kidding.
my PayPal account.
Hi, Scott.
We'll go there.
Man, that's wild.
Hey, is Bubba Randy Southwell in the chat today?
I have not seen
I haven't
Randy
either.
Southwell this evening.
I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
Scott Slimp has joined us, though. He's supposed to be shipwreck diving in the Virgin Islands.
Nice. Scott, I want like a gold necklace if you find it.
Bring something back.
Or a chunk of gold. But thanks, Scott. I mean, gosh, Scott's one of the guys that's in the Virgin Islands right now, and that's pretty cool that he took a time to watch the show.
Right, exactly.
There must be nothing to do right now.
Yeah.
Or he just loves me.
Yeah, I think
what
he
it
just
is.
loves you.
Oh,
Okay,
that's awesome.
now.
I'm his work wife.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next thing we got is the elevator game. Are you guys
Yes.
familiar
Kyle
with
told
this?
me all-
Yeah.
Larry and Kyle, my other friend.
Okay, so where do we classify this? We've got supernatural, we've got homicide.
This kind of
we've
falls
got
in supernatural.
Like supernatural,
stupidity
urban legend.
or urban legend. Okay, I
It's
can
like
deal-
urban legends,
Yeah.
supernatural, because it's supposedly it puts you into a different dimension.
Yes.
But I still kind of, but I still don't see how that would relate to the murder. You know what I mean?
But the urban legend itself is really cool.
Yeah. Would
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, well, it's called the elevator game, right? And you have to have a minimum of 10 floors to play. You can have as many
Yeah.
as you want, but you have to have 10 to play the game.
preface this by saying I don't know
Okay.
if you know this, but he is a game legend. No, really. Like, ask all your family members, all your daughters, sons, everything. Like,
You know what we should. I'm sorry to mean to cut you off. You know what we should do?
unbelievable.
We should. No, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I apologize because
Yeah.
people were getting on to you for
I
cutting me
know.
off.
I'll cut your ass
They,
off.
yeah, the one thing I hate is they said you should let that older man talk.
I said we're the same age.
Yeah,
We're the
yeah.
same.
But
Okay,
you know
go.
what we should do?
We should. What?
And all you guys, please subscribe, like, and share. We're trying to get to 1,000 views. If we do 1,000 views, then we can go live. But we could play the elevator game. All three of us go to the Cecil
Ooh.
with the phone and do it live.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
I would do that.
Now that.
Huh?
Let's just go to Skirvin.
Could go to Skirvin.
We
We
could
have
go to Skirvin.
we have a haunted hotel here. Well,
Yeah.
we could do that too, but we can't do it
Oh,
until
we're
we
gonna
get
go to
1,000.
Cecil.
We have to get 1,000 subscribers,
Absolutely.
and we're only 130 away. People, come on.
Oh my god, we're getting close.
Yeah, we're getting close. So
People in the Virgin Islands,
Seriously,
Yeah.
if he's not subscribed.
subscribe.
yeah. So go ahead.
Oh no, he's a gamer.
Yeah, Gary.
Okay,
yeah,
so
Larry.
Larry's
Let's-
gonna
let's
tell us
hear it,
about the
Larry.
game.
So, okay, so we were at 10 floors.
Yep.
So
Right.
you have to have 10. But the thing is, you have to play it by yourself. You're the only person that could be in it for it to work. So that's
Right.
all shady.
What
Yeah,
happens
so-
though if you go like I know it said like if you get on the elevator, someone gets on, you got to get off until
Yeah,
it's
well,
empty.
there's a.
But
there's a
what if you go to
sequence.
another floor and it's not the floor that the lady's supposed to get on or whatever, and someone gets on? Do you
Oh,
have
you
to
have
go
to
back
quit.
down?
Yeah, you gotta.
Oh,
you gotta
come
quit.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
gotta
gotta
start
quit.
over.
You can't do this in a busy place then.
No, well, that's
Yeah.
why people do it at night. So you, I mean,
Ah,
do it
gotcha.
like, yeah, do it at
Gotcha.
like
Not
midnight,
very
like
much
2
traffic,
or
right.
3 a.m. the witching hour.
Ooh. All right, if you guys
Anyway.
get to 1,000, we'll go to Skirvin and do it.
Hey, so after you do this sequence, right? And this
Well, the
originates in
sequence
Korea.
is like crazy. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's a Korean
go ahead.
urban legend.
Right.
And so the way you play is you have to play by yourself. You get on the elevator and you go to the 4th floor, then
Okay.
you go to the 2nd floor, then you go to the 6th floor, then you go to the 2nd floor, then you go to the 10th, then you go to the 5th. And then once you get to the 5th, and that's when the lady will get on. There's supposedly a young woman gets onto the elevator with you.
Do not
And
look
you-
at her.
yeah, you don't look
Do
at
not
her.
talk
Don't
to
talk
her.
Do not
to
look
her.
to her. Don't talk to her. And I guess if you do, like, she kills you or something, like you die.
See, that's
Wow.
what my next question.
Yeah.
I was listening to the car today, and I was like, so if you talk to her, what happens?
Yeah, I guess she asked you something weird or whatever, but ultimately, you die.
Maybe I think is it that maybe you will never get out of dimension. She takes you with you. I think is what they said.
Oh, that she drags you to the other world.
drags
Yeah,
you to
that's
the
it,
other
yeah,
world.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, so
We're
you don't
talking
talk
to the lady,
Yeah,
we
so you
don't
don't
Do
talk-
not talk to the lady.
So you don't talk to her and you don't look at her. And anyway, so the door shuts, and then I think you press 1, and if it goes up, then you've played the game right. And if it goes down, they said you don't look, don't talk, just run off the elevator. The game's over. But it's so if you go down, you lost. Just get off the elevator.
Yeah, just leave.
If it goes to the 10th floor, then you won, and now
You
you're
won.
in the
You're in your
other
dimension.
dimension. Yeah, and apparently, like the other dimension is a complete replica of ours, but things are like a little bit different, and you're the only one there or something.
No,
Was
it's
there a giant red cross or something?
Okay, no, it's when you get off on the floor, it's completely dark. You can't see anything, but in the horizon, you see a red cross.
Yeah, the
Wow.
red cross. Yeah.
And if you see the red cross, then you made it to that dimension.
Okay.
And then you have to. Then there's a backwards set of rules how to undo the
You
whole
have to
thing.
you have to go back on and do the sequence
right.
backwards. Yeah.
Do the sequence backwards
To get home. So
But what? And also, what's funny is it talks about the lady. And they said that she'll try to talk to you. Like, so if we
she asked you for
yeah.
help and like antagonized you, I guess.
Yeah.
So like if we all three got
It
on.
honestly sounds like being a freshman at West Point.
But man, I would feel like if we got on and some
Look
lady
at the
goes,
wall.
"Hey, how you guys doing?" I would feel bad not to say, "Oh, we're fine."
Yeah, Keith
We're
would get
good.
killed in like 5 seconds.
I'll be the first one dead.
No, I would just be
Oh,
staring.
fun.
Staring straight ahead.
Yeah,
Sitting there with your eyes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't say anything. Don't be nice.
yeah.
Don't be
So I mean that's so weird.
And they said that this lady can actually start crying because you're ignoring her.
What kind of-
She can get angry at you.
What kind of spirit would that be? Because we talked with our last paranormal, it was a word where and the female we talked. Man, I wish I could remember. I'm bad with names, guys. I apologize. But she was saying she was investigating the house and she heard one of her teammates.
It was a cop. Yeah, you know what it is.
It's a Wendigo.
A Wendigo.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of the traits
It's
of
a
a
Native
Wendigo
Native
to be
American.
able to mimic
Right.
familiar family members or sounds of friends or loved ones to
Would that be
lure
like the little-
in
This is
their
true.
prey.
Would that be like on Mountain Monsters, the little Cherokee girl? Was she been a Wendigo?
Possibly.
Okay, just wondering.
Well, Wendigos I heard were created through cannibalism. Like if you
Yes.
eat human flesh, that's how you become a Wendigo.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Native American folklore.
Yeah.
Which is man,
Also, the second episode of Supernatural.
yeah, he loves Supernatural. Dude, he is obsessed.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's my
Dude.
man here.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great show, man.
I watched like 3 episodes. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm so sorry. I can't do this. Hey,
I was so sad when it canceled.
but whenever we actually talked about Wendigos, what was interesting in that conversation was we talked about geography. I remember calling and talking to you afterwards.
Yeah.
And asking about like different belief systems and how that can affect someone's spiritual life.
Absolutely.
And so that's interesting about the Korean thing.
Oh, speaking of
'Cause
different, 'cause
Korea-
in Korean, I guess they put F's instead of 4s on their elevators. No, we don't have 13.
Right.
Usually, it's for them. I guess their number 4 is bad luck because it's the symbol is really close to the symbol for death, and so that's considered unlucky. And I guess they use F's instead of 4s on their elevators. I don't know. That's what I read.
Yeah.
So-
Really?
You've been to Korea.
yeah, but I don't remember that. I don't remember. I don't remember. I wasn't looking at the elevator.
I'm not really.
Take a picture.
I'm not really clear on that 13th floor thing. Is it that we have a 13th floor, but we call it the 14th floor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like
Or
Yeah,
does the
when I-
elevator not stop? It just passes that floor
Right,
and goes
when I
on to
was
the
at the-
14th floor? How,
yeah.
how exactly does that
When
work?
I was at the Tropicana, I was on my room number was 1524.
Right.
So it went 12, 14, and then 15. So it actually I was on the 14th floor.
it's just labeled.
But but that's
they just
all
mislabel
through
it.
all through
Yeah.
Vegas.
Okay,
Yeah, all
right.
through Vegas they do not put 13.
Right.
And it may have to do with there's probably a lot of superstitious gamblers and stuff who I
sure,
don't
definitely.
I'm not staying on the 13th floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's where a lot of that originated from.
Yeah.
Was
That's true.
gambling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
But yeah, it was always weird because like it's like when you go you go on the elevator and you go 12, 14.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
okay.
there's no 13 in my apartment.
Right. Oh, that's weird.
But it
What
kind of
floor-
that is,
Oh,
it,
yeah, never mind.
is that kind of the general rule of all elevators though?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are all hotels or
I
office?
think it's hotels and apartments.
But do office buildings have a room or a floor
I
13?
don't know. Never really had a
We'd
real
have
job.
to, if somebody from the Devon Tower would just let us know in our chat room.
Yeah. Anybody that works at Devon Towers,
Yeah.
let us know.
That's interesting though. That is really interesting. Well, and the reason I brought up because this is Korean folklore, right?
Mhm, yeah. Yeah. I believe it's a Korean urban legend.
Yeah,
That's
I
where
think
it
that.
came
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
It is. It is.
That is strange though.
Yeah.
I don't
It is
know.
weird.
It may have been because she kept pushing the hold button. Maybe she was reading it wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely lost. Either way.
Well, then when she got back in the elevator, I was wondering because
She did lose.
the door didn't shut. That she was just pushing all the
See,
buttons, going like getting the door to shut.
Well, that's what I was talking to him about earlier. He was like, "Yeah, wasn't that weird?" So I'm glad that you were able to debunk that.
yeah,
'cause we were like,
yeah.
that's
We
strange.
were just we talked
He
about it
lived
for like
in
2
hotels
hours.
for like
yeah.
2 years.
I did.
So-
A lot of hotels.
Yeah.
right.
So, and he was like, "I've never ever been. I would like not get back on that elevator.
No,
like
it
if
would
the
freak
door's
me out.
There'd
Yeah.
be something
If
wrong
it,
with
if
it,
it
right?"
waited that long to close, I'd get off and wait for another elevator.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
no,
I would too. I would
she's
too.
worried. No,
Claustrophobic.
she looks out both ways. That's the crazy thing, man. Is like there is I think what's so confusing about this video is that it makes you feel like that there's a presence there.
Yeah, she's hallucinating so well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's so real that you're like,
Because she believes it. She's like seeing it.
Yeah.
So she's believing whatever
she's in it.
yeah. So our next one.
It's not homicide.
Okay, we know it's not homicide. Okay, so it's not homicide. It might be paranormal.
We start
right?
getting all spooked out here, like real quick. We start talking about ghosts.
And we don't
move on.
Okay, so before we move on, was she playing the elevator game? I say no.
No, I don't. She wasn't playing.
I
it
think
right.
she was freaking out, and she was trying to get the door to shut, and so she started pushing buttons.
No, it wasn't a very good attempt at the elevator game.
Yeah, it was horrible.
She didn't follow the instructions at all.
I can't tell you when I was that age in college how many times I got on the elevator in my dorm and my mind would be so distracted I would just stand there and realize I hadn't pushed a single button.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I've done that
And I'm
too.
just standing there for
I've
10
done
minutes
that
going,
too.
why am I not going anywhere?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, so our next one is suicide. Okay, usually suicide with her type of illness would be when she was going through a depressive state because she was bipolar, so it means
Right.
she's have manic episodes or depressive episodes. So Elisa was definitely going through a manic phase at this point, we know.
Right.
Elisa talked about suicide on social media, but said, and I'm paraphrasing, she said something like, she would be too chicken to jump off a bridge that I would just go lay in bed and wait for death to come.
Right. Yeah.
So suicide, I was thinking about this too. Me and Pam was talking about this earlier about committing suicide by drowning would be really tough because your body's natural reflex is not to breathe underwater. So you guys take a guess. I looked up what's the percentage of suicides that are actually from drowning.
3.
That's close.
5.
Less than 2%, and over half of them live.
We were talking about this on the way here too. But here's the problem with that, is that she went down into a dark hole that she couldn't get out of.
Yeah.
I guarantee you most people that begin
I
to
don't think
drown
she.
themselves will save themselves. It's like we were talking on the way here. Like my biggest fear, I've talked about it before. Remember my dream of drowning?
Yeah.
We talked about it in one of the episodes. Like that's
Yeah,
one of
I
my.
would
But
definitely-
here's the weird thing though. I will go like ask Taylor. If you go to
Your nanny, Taylor?
my nanny, yeah.
Okay.
If you go to the beach with me, I do this every time. I go out as far as I can. Like I'm not really afraid of drowning, but I would hate to drown. Like
It would be awful.
I think it's to be besides
It's
burning.
horrible, yeah.
Because I'm
Besides
like
burning
claustrophobic
yourself.
too.
Can you
I don't
imagine?
want to die like with my air cut
So,
off. while I'm
right.
still
Yeah.
alive.
So
Like,
I think
just
that's why the
shoot me,
percentage
dude.
is so low because it's not something you know. What
Yeah,
I mean?
you gotta
Like,
really be committed
yeah,
to
you
do
gotta
that.
be really
Very
committed.
committed.
Very committed.
And so for
And
her though, I think that's why I don't think it was
Because
suicide.
even your body's fighting for surviving.
right.
So
Right.
the body's going, no, we're not going to take a breath.
Physiologic.
And I feel like if you
start
were
kicking.
gonna kill yourself by drowning, you weight yourself down. You know what I mean? You would just
Right,
hop
right.
into a
And I wonder
Dang,
if
like,
she
that's
had
tough.
enough medication back at the hotel room, she could have just OD'd. Because a lot of the medication she
that's
was
true.
taking was narcotics,
But
right, Pam? Was it
you-
not? Seroquel?
Not narcotics in the traditional sense, but Schedule 2s, which
Okay,
are
but
controlled.
so if you took a bottle full of Schedule 2 medication, you could actually OD, correct?
It's possible, yeah.
But they probably found her medication. I also read too where like they didn't have any urine samples or anything. She had already like
Because
by
of
the
the
time they found her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, and so the toxicology report is a bit different. Like I don't know how accurate it is. I
Well,
think
they-
that they're able to identify what she was on though, right?
Yeah, they were, but they said they also, like you said, it is difficult because of the water and has
Right.
something to do with it. But
Sure, it
they
saturates
they
out your
didn't find
body.
any street drugs in her system.
Right.
It was just the medications that she had been taking.
Even if you
And-
took some shrooms though, or like some some mushrooms or something, or you like some LSD.
I think
I
that
think
would
that if-
probably because it breaks down and to the bloodstream as a chemical that they can identify.
Right, but do you think after how long was she in there?
2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's a long.
that's a long time for water just to be soaking into your body.
Yeah.
But she wasn't.
And
But
how do
I,
you get rid of drugs? When
if
you drink
I-
a ton of water.
I don't think she was known to do street drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen anything.
but you can't
Yeah, I
completely
neither.
rule it out,
No,
No, you
absolutely
can't.
not.
especially in that area.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But they did say they didn't find like the date rape drug, whatever that is.
Rufinol.
Rufinol.
Did
yeah,
they
yeah.
really?
Yeah, that's what I read.
I did not
But
see
hey,
that.
we're gonna get to that's actually Pam's gonna give us. I'm sorry, we're getting off topic.
You're fine.
But what is Rufinol? Is that a prescribed drug for another thing altogether?
Not that I'm aware of.
So that would be a street drug.
Right.
And if they said there was no street drugs, then where did you read that?
No, I just read it. I don't know where I
Oh,
read it. I just read
okay.
it. I was listening to. It was actually listening to a guy. He was like some doctor on here. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I just like listen to him. But yeah, and he was going through the toxicology report, and that's where I got the thing about the urine. They weren't able to get urine or anything like that.
Right.
So, but I wonder. I mean, if she took all those pills, yeah, that would be bad. I don't know.
Okay, so are we ruling out who says no suicide?
I don't think it was suicide.
suicide.
Pam, no suicide, right?
I think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was suicide in the sense that it was intentional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Right. That's
Correct.
a great way to
I
put
don't,
it.
think she was,
yeah.
I don't think she was trying to kill herself by
Right.
drowning in a
Right.
water tank.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so our next and last part of this is mental illness.
Right.
So Lam had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. She had been prescribed 4 medications. Well, I guess there's 5. Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, Effexor, and what was the other one, Pam, you found?
Dexedrine.
Dexedrine, which is a stimulant, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Elisa was bipolar and took several medications for her illness. Elisa was known to have psychotic episodes in her past, even commenting on social media about her mental illness. She was not known to take her medication, or she was known to not take her medication appropriately, like missing several days at a time.
Right.
Elisa Lam's autopsy came back and showed that she was on 4 different psychiatric medication at the time of her death. She was taking a medication for her, she's taking this never mind. The bipolar disorder led to her death. Elisa's toxicology report showed that she was taking several different types of psychiatric medication. The American Psychiatric Association recommends an antidepressant in conjunction with a mood stabilizer, antipsychotic drugs to manage the symptoms of her bipolar disorder. For many years, psychiatrists have traditionally added an antidepressant to mood stabilizer if a mood stabilizer alone is ineffective. However, research shows that antidepressants are often not effective for bipolar depression. The autopsy reported that she was taking the right medication. The problem was that even though she had taken the right medication, this is so not reading right. She had taken the right medication, but when the doctors tested her blood, they found out Elisa hadn't taken her antipsychotic in a while.
Oh.
Without antipsychotic to balance the effects of antidepressant, studies have shown an increase in the manic episodes. This leads to the manic episodes, which comes with delusions and paranoia, hallucinations, and other things. This is what led to Lisa acting weird and might have probably made her go to the top of the tank and kill herself. If anyone is not in their right state of mind, they can do weird and crazy stuff that can also lead to accidentally killing themselves. I should really read this before I go on air.
No. That's fine.
There was a couple sentences like, what? That didn't make any sense.
No, it's
No, but see, that's okay. So I know we talked about
compelling.
I know we talked about paranormal being
I'm glad we did.
reason, and I'm glad we did too, because it's kind of a paranormal channel. But I totally, coming from a medical background, and Pam too, totally think she had a psychotic episode.
Right.
Yes.
She wasn't taking her medication. She was
Right.
hallucinating. She wasn't aware of what she was doing, and
Right.
that's why she jumped in that tank. And Pam's going to go over some of these medications and tell us a little bit about them, what they're for, what the symptoms,
Right.
what you take them for.
Okay. She was on a pretty extensive regimen of psychiatric meds. Okay, Kaneki. Moldy rye bread led to the Salem witch trials, and he is absolutely correct, but that's a discussion for later. Bupropion, which is probably or maybe more commonly known as Wellbutrin by the generic name, or Xanax for those of you who have tried to stop smoking and use this for smoking cessation, is a common antidepressant. Okay, this was one of the medications that she was prescribed. Like most antidepressants, physicians will tell anybody who starts a new antidepressant it's going to take 30 days to hit your system and get to a therapeutic level. Okay, typically prescribed for people with major depressive disorder (MMD) or seasonal affective disorder (SAD), and requires long-term use. Okay, people with bipolar disorder who take antidepressants may be at risk for switching from depression into mania. Okay, it's going to be critical later, so remember that.
Okay, there'll be a test later, guys.
And all of these medications that she was on all say the same thing about what should I avoid while taking XYZ medication. Alcohol and illegal drugs.
Wow.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Alcohol and illegal drugs.
Definitely.
That's pretty much the standard.
Definitely.
Avoid alcohol and illegal drugs, okay? And also to be conscientious of stopping, especially psychiatric meds, suddenly. That can cause some pretty serious side effects.
Right, for
okay. There are also FDA, Federal Drug Administration here in America, black box warnings. Now, black box warning from the FDA means basically that this is something that can ultimately cause death in the patient.
Oh, wow.
Okay, when they say there is a black box warning about something. Okay, and again, for all of these medications that Elisa was prescribed and may or may not have been taking, suicidal thoughts,
Oh, God.
okay, pretty common, and actions in children and adults. Short-term studies say that antidepressants increase the risk of suicidality in children, adolescents, and young adults compared to placebos. Okay?
Wow.
And what do they consider a young adult? Up to the age of 24 years old.
Wow.
24, okay?
Wow.
When we talk about pediatrics, we're talking about 18 and younger, unless you're dealing with a chronic illness, say cystic fibrosis, chronic diabetic, something like that. But typically, with psychiatric diagnoses, the frontal lobe of the brain, which is where our personality develops
Right.
from, continues to develop until we're 24 years old.
I wish I would have been a better person when I was 18 to 24.
You're still developing.
Yeah.
We can
He's
catch
a
you a
growing
break.
boy.
Yeah, you're a growing boy. We can catch you a break.
That's crazy,
But isn't
man.
that
Yeah, it is
interesting and
Yeah.
scary?
That is, yeah.
Scary when you think about it.
Jeez.
So that's just the one of the antidepressants she was on. Okay. The next drug that I went through was lamotrigine, also called Lamictal. This is kind of an old school drug. It's a mood stabilizer. Okay, and basically, what a mood stabilizer is used for bipolar disorder is, again, long-term treatment, to do exactly what it says, to help stabilize the patient's mood. Okay, it's pretty common treatment with bipolar disorder. It's approved as part of the standard regimen. What happens if I miss a dose of lamotrigine? If you miss more than 3 days, contact your prescriber because your dose might need to be adjusted. So essentially, if you're taking a high dose, you miss 3 days, that dose may need to be cut in half.
Right. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
So pretty
And I don't think most people know that.
right, pretty
Oh,
significant.
man,
Yeah, pretty significant.
Man, I'd never read stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Can I get it?
Yeah,
I
me
just,
neither.
open it and like drink it or whatever.
Because like even with my medication, like
Yeah.
if I miss one dose, I might need to adjust my
Yeah.
all my. So I just still take
if
it.
somebody
Yeah.
ever, if it's,
Well, and that's the typical recommendation is if you miss a dose of your medication, take it as soon as you realize you've missed
Right.
it,
Right.
but don't double up.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
Right.
double
Right,
up.
right.
Wait at least 4 hours to take the next dose and then try to get back on track. You
Dude,
know?
I read every
But-
instruction.
I know you do.
I commit it to
know,
memory
man.
before I
It's-
take
it-
one, before I even
Dude,
start. I'll
and-
be like, oh, read it twice, and I'm like,
he does. Dude.
Right.
It's the weirdest thing, man. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you reading? Like,
Right.
That's the
Stop reading
instructions.
the box.
and for all you watching and in chat, let me clarify. I'm an RN. I've worked in the medical field for 26 years now, I believe, in a lot of various areas of medicine.
Pamela's my go-to. Like,
Yeah.
constantly. I'm sorry,
I
call
don't
you
claim
so
to be a
much.
psychiatric nurse, but I do have a lot of experience
You
in a lot
do.
of different
Yeah.
areas, and I am a pretty darn good researcher.
You
Yep.
are.
Man,
Man, it'd be like
I mean,
One
look
in the
at
morning.
look at the pages
I know,
she has
dude.
compared to ours.
Look at mine. Pulled it up. Go on.
yeah, my pages on medicine
Pam, this
are
supposed
as
to be like
big
a
as their script.
5-minute thing.
I know, that's why I asked you. How detailed do you want
I
this?
love this. No,
Okay.
No, no.
I'm
I'm
interested.
interested.
No,
Yeah.
actually, I think it's important because if they're or some of our listeners. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I just learned.
Dude,
that-
me
It's
too.
just why it's
Yeah.
just why I think it was this. This explanation just hits all the points.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just feels there's really no questions left once you like go through it step by
Right.
step.
Well,
Exactly.
And she's young too. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
21.
So, serious side effects for lamotrigine, and this one's kind of odd. There's a thing called Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is actually a potentially life-threatening skin rash.
Wow.
And that sounds, kind of insane, but when you
Like the
know about
flesh-eating
flesh-eating bacteria and those
bacteria?
types of things, it's almost like an anaphylactic reaction type thing. But that's the black box warning on lamotrigine is if you don't react well to it, it can cause, that kind of an issue for you. So, hopefully she'd been on that long enough,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't consistent, to know that there's not a major issue.
Right.
Greg Henry, you're so crazy. He
Hi,
says
Greg.
nurses are hot. Right on.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's right. I have a hot nurse wife.
Okay, our next medication that we're going to review is called venlafaxine, or common brand name is Effexor, another antidepressant. Okay, it's an antidepressant that works in the brain. Duh. It is approved for treatment in major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and social anxiety disorder or social phobia.
Me and Kyle needed some of that. we
So,
don't go anywhere.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're on two antidepressants
Man,
that
yeah.
treat kind of different areas
Angles,
of the
yeah.
brain and different issues. Okay, so this was something that was kind of interesting that I highlighted when I was reading through this. Depression is also a major part of bipolar illness, obviously. People with bipolar disorder who take antidepressants may be at risk for switching from depression to mania. Symptoms of mania include an irritable mood, high self-esteem, decreased need for sleep, which could maybe make your roommates think that you're
Yeah.
having odd behavior.
True.
Pressure to keep talking, racing thoughts, which again could make your roommates think you're having odd behavior.
Like talking to yourself. I mean,
And
Right,
just talk
'cause you feel like,
constantly,
and to nobody.
Right.
But,
yeah, that person that just can't shut up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We've all known that person.
Garrett.
Being easily distracted.
Garrett.
Okay. Frequently
We're both
involved.
ADHD.
Okay, here's the big one though. Frequently involved in activities with a large risk for bad consequences.
Wow.
Okay.
Larry.
Wow.
And the example they give here though is excessive buying sprees. That's
Wow,
the
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Those people that get on
I was
the Home
thinking way
Shopping
darker.
Network and buy $10,000 worth of crap that they don't need.
Remember that
right.
commercial
or don't
that
have
showed
the
the
money
lady
to
on
pay for
Amazon?
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Do you remember that commercial, Pam?
Mm-hmm.
The lady on Amazon is ordering all this camera equipment and stuff.
Right.
And,
Yeah, yeah. And again, on Effexor, the black box warning from the FDA, suicidal thoughts for
Wow.
young
Yeah.
adults.
Jeez.
So
cow.
now these are if she was actually taking her medication. Okay,
Right.
Couldn't it be like if she was taking her medication and then suddenly stopped?
we're gonna get there.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
Is that like a normal amount of meds to take for this season?
Does this
You
make
know,
sense?
Or does it
if
seem like
you're-
a lot?
Yeah.
It is a lot. It is
Okay.
a lot. But if she was truly a bipolar type 1, because there's different types of bipolar.
Okay.
The bipolar type 1 is the most difficult to manage. They're the ones that can have the manic phases that can last for a week or longer and then swing over to the
Depressive,
depressive
right.
phases. The bipolar 2s are the ones that are usually more caught in the depressive phases that last for
Gotcha.
years.
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right. Yeah.
Where and the thing about bipolarism that's kind of odd and unique is we all, Elisa just talked about feeling suicidal, being depressed, but not having the courage to do that. I can tell you that she was most likely at that point in a depressive phase.
yeah.
But
And then
in
went
your
to San Diego and let's go
right,
to the zoo. on my
but
side.
but
Yeah.
in your depressive phase, you don't want to get up, you don't want to do anything, you don't care about anything.
Right.
It's not necessarily that I'm suicidal, but I just don't care if I live.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care if I live. If I die, that's okay. If I live, that's
So do you think that
whatever.
That's kind of what I kind of read, and with
Yeah.
her social media, kind of sounded like that a little
Well,
bit.
and that's what I love about this part of it. What Pamela's doing is because what you're essentially doing is building like a mental profile for us to understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to paraphrase Dr. Grande on YouTube, who, if any of you know
Dude,
who he
he's
is,
amazing. Yeah.
this is not a diagnosis or anything.
Right,
This
yeah,
is simply
yeah.
a profile that we're developing
Right.
of potential consequences.
Right.
Okay?
No, yeah.
I am not a doctor. I cannot diagnose.
Right.
So
I thought Dr. Grande was but he can he?
he can.
He can.
He
Yeah.
can, but not his
But-
patient. So
but
you
because
can't
without
diagnose
him without
the
patient.
without a
Dr.
Right.
Phil does the same thing. Sorry to bring him up again.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So,
But
God.
no, I love this. This is
Yeah.
really interesting.
Well,
so-
Pam, what you need to do?
You can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Yeah. And so honestly, when Keith asked me to look into this, it was really interesting. I got onto NAMI, which is the North American Mental Health Institute, that is kind of a grassroots support organization for mental health and progressing services for mental health, and helping kind of bring it out of the dark ages that it's
Right.
been in, that
It has
make
been.
it more mainstream and not a taboo, and
Yeah.
not to something to be ashamed of.
Right.
And then of course NAM, which is the National Institute for Mental Health, which those are probably our two big ones here in the United States. Were my sources on this. So I use NAMI for medication profiles. I use NAM to look up bipolar disorder and some of the things that are common with that. And I think with Elisa, in reading especially about the bipolar disorder, there's not just one type of bipolar. There's the type 1, which I suspect may have been what they thought
Right.
Elisa was.
Definitely.
There's the type 2 that's more depressive. There's what they call a cyclothymic, which means that they just have an extreme amount of difficulty regulating their mood. They tend to be more depressed. And in those people, it is oftentimes mistaken for bipolar. I'm not exactly sure
Right.
why. It's cyclothymic versus major depressive disorder.
Right.
Those are things that are a little bit outside of my scope.
Right.
And then the other thing is other unspecified
Yeah.
mood disorders, So my concern in reading about Elisa's history, in reading her med profile, and I still have a couple other medications to go over. Seroquel, in my mind, of the medications she's been on, was the big gun. Okay.
Seroquel?
Seroquel, yeah, or
Yeah.
quetiapine
Okay.
is the generic name for that. Okay. FDA approves it for treatment of manic episodes of bipolar disorder, acute treatment of depressive episodes of bipolar disorder,
It's pretty
maintenance of long-term bipolar disorder, which can be used alone or with a couple other medications, lithium and valproate, which is an old school mood stabilizer and anticonvulsant drug, which they use pretty commonly now for behavioral issues, or as an adjunct treatment, which just basically means it's something extra that they can add in to make her other medications more
Right.
effective.
Man.
Yeah. Okay, here's the key thing that they say about when you take quetiapine to know: do not stop taking quetiapine even when you feel better. Guys, I'm going to tell you that's the number one problem that mental health patients have, and especially bipolars. You take your medicine, you feel better, I'm well, I don't need it.
Yep.
And you come off of it, and you swing into a depressive episode, or you swing into a manic episode. And personally, from my opinion, my belief, what I've read, what I've studied, what I've seen, I think that people in manic episodes are actually in more danger than people in depressive episodes.
I agree.
People in depressive episodes, like I said earlier, I'm not necessarily suicidal. I just don't care if I live.
Right.
People in manic episodes are not necessarily suicidal, but much more willing
Determined.
to take risks.
Determined,
Carelessness.
carelessness.
They don't have inhibitions.
Right. Yeah.
They don't have a good perspective on personal safety.
Right.
So
It's not a well balanced thought
no,
process.
not at all, not at all. It's very much an adolescent, and it's very much an adolescent mindset of, I'm super strong, I'm super smart,
right.
I'm super quick. You know, nothing can defeat me, kind of thing. You know, and so they kind of almost have this sense of invulnerability.
Right.
You know, and it gives them, you know, the idea of, hey, I'll just take a little swim in the water tower.
Right.
What could happen?
Yeah, I can get out of there.
What
right.
could happen?
Yeah.
So that's why my comment earlier was, do I think it's suicide? Not in the sense that it was intentional.
Right, absolutely.
I don't think so. But to go even further with this, and, you know, quetiapine, I'm not even going to go a whole lot more into that. There's more about bipolar. I think I've kind of covered most of that. But honestly, guys,
you hit the nail on the freaking head.
One of my big concerns, though, with Elisa was started on these medications by a physician when she started college in British Columbia, through student services, the university health services, which a lot of students use. Nothing wrong with that.
Definitely.
Thank you, doctors, for providing those services.
And if you feel like you need help, definitely
students.
reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I can't say anything bad or negative about that. Obviously, something was going on in her life that she recognizes she needs some help, and she sought it out. I do wonder, though, in what I've read and seen and witnessed about this young woman, if there is not some potential that maybe she was misdiagnosed.
Right. So what do you
I
think?
agree.
Schizophrenia.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there is a possibility, you know, and I can't say any kind of a percentage or with any kind of certainty.
It's definitely really compelling.
But I do think there is a possibility that maybe she was a misdiagnosed schizophrenic.
Yeah. But also, I guess we could also think, well, is it schizophrenia, or we have an episode because we're not taking our medication correctly because we have some of the same symptoms as schizophrenia, right?
Right. It could be one of the other.
So it could be one or the other. But yeah, I tend to think, like Pam and I talked about this. I thought this girl was schizophrenic, man.
Well, and I mean, what you just did is you laid out a laundry list of things that they're like, they're forcing her brain to work in a certain way.
Right.
When in reality, what you're saying is it could have been something completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah. That's what I think, too.
And some of these medications that she was
probably work
on
a little bit on schizophrenia.
were the right thing for schizophrenia, but you know, I'm not certain if she truly was a bipolar type 1. The antidepressants might not have been in her best interest because they may have pushed her more towards a manic phase, which is going to escalate that in sense of invulnerability and that behavior, that risk-taking behavior. If she was misdiagnosed and truly was a schizophrenic, or even having psychosis with bipolar disorder.
Wouldn't it be interesting, though, if we could have found out what symptoms was Elisa having when she, you know, first went to get help?
Right.
Exactly.
You know, that would tell us right there, is this schizophrenia or is this a misappropriate use of medication?
Right.
Well, and transitions, you know, that's when she's going to be vulnerable, like mentally.
Right. And you know, the age she was at, like I said,
life changes.
The adolescent brain is still developing. Excuse me, up to the age of 24 years old. So she's 21 when she died. How long had she been on these medications? I don't know.
I think it's important to say too, like, you know, you being a nurse, you being in the medical field, you being whatever the heck you did.
Awesome, cool.
We can't actually talk about what Larry actually officially did. So
Larry's just
we can if we get if we get 1,000 views, we'll talk about it.
And then we'll
never have another subs.
We'll never have another show again because we'll be assassinated the next night. No, but in what I do too, like and I work with kids. We've all been around people with bipolar. Like I think that there's obviously the stigma around bipolar. It's pretty damn common. Like there are people that have different levels.
Yeah, and I think go ahead.
Well, so my point is like, and I've seen somebody in that manic state, and that's kind of, and I'm sure you have too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so probably way more than I have, and so that's why I draw more towards the schizophrenic theory that you're bringing up because.
Yeah.
I mean, to go to that extent and to be that determined and that, you know.
So with your medical knowledge.
Hallucinating.
And it's possible she had a mixed diagnosis, not a misdiagnosis.
True. Yeah.
That maybe she was both.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
So Pam, in your professional opinion, and again, we're not diagnosing anybody.
I am.
But with what, because
Dr.
it's
Dressel.
really not fair, I guess, to even ask you that because we don't know the history of her symptoms,
Right.
But from what you're looking at, do you think schizophrenia or do you think actual bipolar? Or is it just inconclusive? I mean,
I think, I as far as the diagnosis itself, I'm really still kind of at a toss up, 50-50 for either diagnosis, honestly. But the thing that concerns me is, and guys, I'll be real honest, and I'm going to throw this out here without naming names.
but Larry,
No. in my previous life, before I decided to become a nurse, I was going to be an educator, and I'm really good at research.
Yeah.
Really good at research. And in researching this, reading through the autopsy report on Elisa, there were no medications in her system that were not prescribed. There was no no THC. There was no methamphetamine beyond the dexedrine.
right?
The metabolites that were in her system, which goes to the breakdown of medications, were all metabolites from the prescription drugs she was on. So, guys, she was not taking alcohol or street substances. How accurate was the toxicology on her report, given that she'd been in the water for 2 weeks? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a forensics.
You paint a really good picture of like what kind of state she was in, though.
Yeah.
Like what, or the potential of if I were to drop these medications,
Right.
This is what could happen.
Right.
And if you tie that to the actual events that we know happened,
Right.
it makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
But here's the other thing, guys. Like I said, I'm pretty good at research. When I reviewed Elisa's autopsy report, part of what's included in that is her medication profile, and they don't just list the medications and the dosages, but also the prescribing physician.
Okay.
Okay. Not going to name the physician. I'm sure you all can find Elisa's autopsy report on the internet and
Wow.
find that out for yourselves.
I like this. I like what Pamela's doing here.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that when I found the physician's name, and here
Please tell me you looked
here
him
in
up.
in the United States, we have that potential to look up our treating physicians and see what their
Reviews.
reports are from patients and health grades and things like that. Unfortunately, Elisa's prescribing physician for these medications doesn't have a very good one.
Pamela.
You know,
Got pow.
and
Wow.
Kevorkian.
and
Yeah.
well, and in fairness to her as a physician, psychiatry's a hard
Yeah,
field to
definitely.
treat.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of it that you count on your patient's report.
Right.
You know, it's not like you can draw a lab level or do a CAT scan
Right.
and go, oh, well, there's this thing going on in their brain, or there's
Right.
this lab level in their blood. This is obviously the problem. There's so much of it that relies on the patient's report. So in fairness to that physician, she only knew in part what Elisa shared
Well,
with
and
her.
in fairness to that physician, she's working for a university, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
can you imagine being a psychologist or psychiatrist for a
University.
Yeah, a
university?
university. Yeah, tough
Yeah.
job.
Really
You got a
tough
bunch
job.
of young kids with
Right.
developing minds that are,
Right.
Stressful
going
situations.
stressing
Yeah.
and going crazy
On their
because they're
own,
away
but
from
yeah,
home,
yeah.
and all
When
those
you
other
have a
things.
serious case like that, though, wouldn't you refer her out to maybe a specialist? I mean, I know she was a psychiatrist, right?
Right.
Like a
Yeah.
second
Do you see what I'm
opinion?
saying?
Yeah,
Like-
no, I
Like a second
completely,
opinion?
yeah, I
Yeah,
completely
abs-
get, I completely get what you're saying, and yeah, there probably is a time when you say, you know what, hon, I think you might need a little more help than what I can provide.
Yeah.
And absolutely that there is that potential there. Maybe she's only limited to, as part of student services, I can only see you once every 2 weeks,
that's
once
what
a
I was
month,
gonna
or
say,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't know.
And there's
you
no
know?
telling how bad, you know what I mean? She was fine before. She was at the
Right.
zoo,
Right.
hanging out.
'Cause it's been-
Right.
yeah.
I don't.
You
She's
know?
been sitting
And is it
And-
limited in
Yeah.
Canada too, right? I mean, as far as
Well,
finding
Canada has a different medical system
Yeah,
than
that's
we
what
do,
I'm saying.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, there's been a lot of discussion about that. Aunt Doug, I know you're out there, chime in anytime on the chat room, but, that actually could have been to her benefit. I just don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
enough about
Absolutely.
that to speak on it. So I really don't feel like I can say anything about that. But I do feel like I said, and the fact that we're talking probably maybe a young psychiatrist who's working maybe her first job in student services,
Right, yeah.
kind of a grunt job,
Yeah. Well, and
get your feet wet.
that's why I wanted to bring that
yeah,
up, because
learn the ropes.
being overwhelmed sometimes can lead to not focusing in attention to detail.
Exactly.
Right. And
exactly.
and somebody that's thriving and wanting to do well by people can sometimes make
Well,
mistakes.
can you
on
imagine
accident.
what her caseload was
That's
like?
what I'm saying.
I
Yeah.
mean,
her
you think
case-
about
Sure, it's
that.
enormous.
Hey, it's huge.
Right.
But does this
Yeah.
physician now, does she have her own practice, or is she still employed
I
there?
don't know. She is no longer with the university, from what I can tell. Okay, and this
Right.
is just internet research, guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
take it for what it's worth. I feel like some of these are insurance sites, so I feel like they're relatively reliable. But it depends on how often these
Right.
things get updated. It does look like she's probably advanced on to private practice, but Elisa's case happened in 2013. Is that right?
God, I should know that. I'm so tired. Yeah, I think so.
How you've been drinking Death Wish?
No, I know. I'm the only guy who can drink coffee. And I think it's
And-
2013 or
Yes,
2012.
It's that
one of them.
it's that ADHD brain
Yeah, it
years.
is, it
It
is.
Yeah,
swings
it
you back
is.
the other direction. What I was saying though is if her case was in 2013, and looking, like I said, at current reviews on this particular physician, the reviews that I've read were relatively recent. And when I say relatively recent, I will say in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
In the number of reviews I've read, I would say maybe only 20% were 100% positive,
Wow.
and the rest of them were still relatively negative.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah, which is sad and hard, and who knows what being, indirectly or directly connected to a situation like this,
Right.
how that may have impacted how she practices.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Or
I
even
would-
how she treats people.
Right. I would certainly think that
As
would
a
be
young-
something
yeah.
that you would carry
Right.
with you.
Yeah, definitely.
For quite some time.
I really like. I really like where this conversation has gone, though,
Yeah.
because I think that we're pulling on a bigger issue here with this.
Yeah, exactly.
It really like.
And in respect to that bigger issue, and this is something I will throw up in the chat room, so that you guys will have access to it. Sometimes mental health is hard to talk about.
Absolutely.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. My husband's a diabetic. He takes insulin. I deal with depression issues. I take antidepressants.
I have social anxiety. That I was actually just telling him a story about when I was doing great.
Uh-huh.
And you know me, I go out everywhere.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
But what, dude?
Everybody
don't-
loves Garrett.
Yeah, but you don't see me in Walmart anymore.
Yeah.
No way.
I hear
But
you.
dude, I got off. Remember me telling you that?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm actually listening to you saying this stuff, and I'm like, I actually get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
so
I hate to use that word. I shouldn't use that word. It's understandable.
Bananas.
Bananas. Yeah, thank you. It's bananas.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. That's what he says now. Bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas.
So
Yeah. So what's the link? I'm sorry.
I've like I said, I've got some information. There's the National Alliance on Mental Health helpline phone number. I'll put that in the chat room so you guys will have access to it. There's an email that you can contact, or there is, excuse me, a number you can actually text 24/7. Okay,
That's cool.
for crisis
That is
counseling.
awesome.
Yeah,
if
that's
it's needed.
awesome.
So you guys have access to that. Even if you don't need it for yourself, you might know somebody. Hang on to it. You never know when you might need it.
Yeah.
And we'll throw it up in the comments and on the website as well for you guys, so you'll have it. But my analysis, personally, my opinion, I don't want to even say analysis, but my opinion of Elisa's situation is that this is a young woman whose brain was so discombobulated from medication, lack of medication, back and forth therapeutic levels of medication. Is it possible she went into kind of a psychosis episode? Absolutely. I feel like that's a very good possibility. Is it possible she was a misdiagnosed schizophrenic? Also, I think it's a good possibility. Is it possible she was a bipolar that just wasn't compliant with her medication enough, that she swung into a manic phase, thought she was invincible, and made a really bad decision?
Yep.
Absolutely, that's a possibility.
Right.
You know, do I think there's foul play in her death? I don't.
I don't either.
I don't feel like it's a foul play case. I think this is a really sad, unfortunate situation of a young woman who her brain was
Yeah.
kind of became her enemy,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, and she made a really poor choice.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's my take on it, guys.
That's what I think. Very much so. It's horrible. It's sad. I mean, after looking at it, it's. I don't think it's paranormal. I don't think it's suicide. Definitely not a homicide. So I think it's just like what Pam said. Is she had a schizophrenic type of episode and it led to her death, and that's it.
I actually, I'm going to add one in there because I believe that it was partially paranormal.
Okay.
Because I believe that after our discussions that we've had, that energy really is important.
Yeah.
And residual energy and things of that nature. And I think that when somebody's vulnerable, if they're in the wrong place at the wrong time with that kind of
and
energy,
in the wrong state of mind.
in the wrong state of mind, like maybe they got off their I mean, dude, she was heavily medicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Heavily.
perfect storm.
It was
But you know,
perfect
one
storm.
thing I
Awful.
also wonder about is in that manic. Also, we also need to think about 4 days before that. Okay, she hadn't taken her medicine 4 days. So in a manic type of situation, you're probably only getting about 2 hours of sleep a day, which increases your risk for auditory hallucinations
Yes.
and visual hallucinations.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Sleep deprivation.
she's probably had sleep deprivation on top of this mental illness, which just compounded it, made
Right.
it worse. And
Right.
And there's ghosts around her. At
Yeah,
the most haunted
exactly.
hotel in Skid Row.
Yeah.
Right, and if you got that, so
Exactly.
I see what Garrett's saying. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, negative energy can. I mean, it does. It's
Well,
out
you
there.
asked earlier. You said, "Does the Cecil bring these people there?" I
Yeah.
mean, does it? Like, I mean, really?
Yeah.
That's a question I think that we can't answer.
Yeah,
So it is absolutely, there has to be a paranormal aspect to it because it's unexplainable. Like what she went through that night, like it's completely unexplainable to any of us.
right.
Like we can never sit here and say 100%. Now we can
There's
get her up to
so
that
much-
point. We can get her up to that point, but then once she went over the edge, that's like,
It's
dude.
just like it's just weird. There's so much bad juju in one place. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
Like, it's
insane.
There's just death after
It's
death
almost
after death.
like
Tragedy.
too
Yeah.
much coincidence.
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah.
that there is something
I mean,
negative
there's
there
something weird going on.
Yeah.
that you've got so
So
like
you
you
can't
said.
completely rule it out.
No, you
That's
can't.
not- yeah.
You can't.
Like, I
from,
don't think it,
from a
like,
science point of
Yeah.
view,
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
be just mental illness is what caused it.
Yeah.
Right.
From an open mind point of view, mental illness mixed with a bunch of negative energy, that
Tragedy,
because of what
compounding,
happened to
yeah.
her and how the state of mind she was in
She was
could
drawn.
influence her.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you also begged the question at the beginning, why was she at the Cecil? Is
Yeah.
it because we travel. Remember, we go to Austin and we say, hey, we want to go to this place and we
Yeah.
want to go to that place. And sometimes we go off the beaten path just because we know somebody that's been there or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you find yourself in a really shitty place. And you're like, okay, we got to get out of here now.
Yeah. Have a little
Yeah.
feel,
And
dude.
so, yeah,
Have a little feel.
yeah. But my point is that, you know, maybe she did go down that path and that's how she ended up at the Cecil. But she was in that state of mind and that she had the knowledge of it. So
Well, I guess it was like super cheap. I guess to stay
had to
there.
be.
Yeah.
What's a hostel? Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, they said it was super cheap. And that's probably what
Right.
you know. What? Well, I mean, you got drug users. You know, at one time that was a very prestigious hotel.
really.
So yes, when they built it, it was for the elites who came to Los
It
Angeles to
sounded.
stay.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
nice.
It had
yeah.
marble floors. It had
Yeah.
it was beautiful
Right.
inside. What happened is when the Great Depression hit, they couldn't keep up,
Right.
and it just slowly started going downhill. And
Dilapidated.
then they even got to the point where they were bargaining with people to fill the rooms. Like if you came in and said, "I'll give you $50 for night," they're like, "Okay,
Yeah. yeah.
25, yep,"
Sure.
because they were just trying to keep the rooms filled.
Right.
But yeah, at one point it was where the elites went.
Man.
And if you have you seen pictures of inside it?
No,
I mean, you
haven't.
could tell at one time this was a magnificent,
Oh, I have. No, I have.
beautiful,
Yeah.
prestigious hotel.
I know. Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, by today's standards, you know, externally and obviously it hasn't been kept up. It may
No.
not look like much.
Yeah, the
but
rooms
when
look
it was
horrible.
originally built, you know,
Yeah.
14 floors if I counted the windows correctly in the photos. That's pretty magnificent at
It
the
is.
time.
Yeah. Definitely.
know?
Definitely.
Big time. Also, I want to mention, if you guys know, I mean, suicide's just a horrible thing. And I do want to give the suicide hotline, just in case you have a friend.
Thank you for doing that. That's
yeah,
a good. Yeah.
in case you have a friend, or if anybody in the chat room's depressed or anything, man, you can figure.
There's help out there.
Yeah, there's
There
help
is
out there.
help.
I couldn't go
out
into
there.
Walmart and I got help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1-800-27
hard.
Garrett.
Sorry.
1-800-273-8255 suicide help hotline, and those people can help you out. So
Hey, are you putting that in the chat too?
800-273.
8255. Yeah. And did you know that Ted Bundy was a suicide hotline operator?
I did not know that.
Yes.
That's
Oh
not
my
very reassuring.
No,
God.
that's a bad time.
What a horrible placement.
Sorry.
I'm so glad for Pam, dude. Pam, Pam's MVP, dude.
Okay, so look.
I love you, dear. That's not very reassuring.
I know, but you were completely like on like.
I derailed it.
Yeah, dude, I was
Totally
like, are you
derailed it.
serious? No, I didn't even think about it. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, he is? Like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't even catch on. Okay,
No,
thank
he
you, Pam.
was.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I just, I
Wow.
mean, and God, that was, see, that's where Pam tells me I don't have a filter. Yeah, I mean, I was
love him anyway, but
I
I
was
accept
ending-
that fact.
I was ending so well one night, and I said, you know what, Ted Bundy was.
Yeah.
Call Ted, he can help you out.
Yeah. No.
No, I'm not making fun of. I mean, seriously,
not.
there's good people out there.
Hey, the
and-
reason I said that about the Walmart thing, though, is because earlier, remember we were talking about my pink eye, and I said my doctor comes to my gym?
yeah,
Like, it took Cass. Dude, she probably texted you. And, like, some of my friends, like, I had to take a day off work, dude. I finally was like, hey, I got this anxiety when I'm inside my gym. Like, after 10 years, it's crazy. And she was like, you got to call Miriam. I was like, I train her kids. What are you talking about? I got to, you know? And
Yeah.
so eventually it got I was like, all right, I called up Miriam. Dude, I actually walked back in that day. I was like, I've got social anxiety. I
Yeah.
figured it out. So, like, don't
Yeah.
be afraid of freaking if you feel it. Like, call them up, dude. It actually really helps.
no,
So-
absolutely.
And you won't talk to, who was it? Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy?
No, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, you won't talk to, I swear to God.
No, and
Well, we honestly we can't promise that, but we hope you won't.
Yeah, we can't.
yeah,
well,
no, I apologize for that, but no, because I take that very seriously. So
yeah.
I mean,
you weren't
if
saying
any-
that as a joke. You were saying that as a real thing.
I was,
like,
yeah,
oh,
you,
yeah, it was
you
a
thought I was
factoid.
joking.
No, I
didn't you?
didn't. No, I thought you were being serious.
Yeah, I was serious.
I know you were.
But I mean,
yeah, no, I
yeah.
didn't think you were joking at all. I didn't know
Yeah.
that about him. That's crazy.
maybe you're looking.
That's another show, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're gonna do the West Memphis 3. Someone
Yes.
brought that up, and
Hey, man, that's a terrible case. That's
it's a
tough
horrible
one.
case. Yeah, we won't be showing crime scene
No,
photos
yeah,
from that
that's a
one.
tough one.
Yeah.
But gosh, and there's been a whole lot of.
I guess Keith didn't run that by me.
I did too.
I'm just kidding. I know you did.
I talked to him last week about it because one
that
of our
documentary.
one of our viewers wanted to talk about it, and man, talk about there's some corruption going there. I mean, there's a guy that has a true crime series. He actually did a video,
Okay.
and they've got a new DNA or way of extracting DNA. It's called a vac. It's like a vacuum cleaner.
Yes.
And they were saying, you know, if we can get a hold of some of the bindings and go through this, we could probably find out who this is.
Right.
And the state attorneys shut it down.
Right.
He won't return their phone calls. And you know what it is? It's because they don't want to be embarrassed.
Right,
Because
yeah.
they were just, it was a witch hunt for these 3 kids. You
Yeah.
know, they were obviously innocent, and they just wanted to be done with it.
Man, it's such a crazy story. I'm going to start really digging into it. I'll tell you, I oftentimes tell you that, like, my introduction into these cases is normally from, like, a movie or just, like, watching
Yeah.
the news. And so I watched a movie a long time ago called The Devil's Knot. I think it's 2017.
Yeah, there's a book too.
Man, and I had no
Yeah.
idea what I thought it was just a movie. And I mean, it is a crazy.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction to the Memphis 3. So it's
Yeah.
that's gonna be interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah,
Hey, I
absolutely.
know tonight. I thought this was great, man.
No, it was. I think we solved the case, right, guys?
Yeah, we did. We solved every case almost.
We are case solvers. I think we need pipes and sit around.
Yeah.
Well, what we think. So anyway, I think if me and Garrett can pull together, we're going to try to get the Memphis 3 starting on it next Thursday. I could see that being a couple of shows.
I could too. Yeah.
But I want it to be really good. So
Research.
so lots of research. So I want to make sure we have a good show for them. But anyway, it is 9:15, guys. We got to get out of here. And
Good stuff, man.
yeah, it was
That was
great.
awesome.
Great show.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Pam.
dude,
Pam,
thanks for
hey,
having
can
me.
we?
Thank you, Pam.
Pam,
No bad language.
Dang, I always
Pam,
push. There we go.
Pam,
I'm going to mark that like Pam said.
Yes,
The good Lord gave us labels for a reason.
They did. They did. Even a template that fits over this with a dry erase. Yeah, I just never use it. And I still push the wrong buttons. I probably still will.
Yeah, that's fine.
I love you, baby.
I know. I love you too,
I love
baby.
you too.
The fans love it.
Yeah,
the fans-
it's
all the
funny
fans love
anyway.
it.
The fan loves it.
The
Larry.
hey now, we got 29 people in our chat room right now. So you guys subscribe, share, like. Let's get this up to 1,000, then we can talk to Larry about his secret projects. But
Yeah.
Yes.
he has to. We can't show his face though.
Hey, once things settle down with the move, and I'm obviously in season right now.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get back to like open up the phone lines a little bit too?
Yeah, but no one calls anyway.
I know,
here,
but
so.
I think we
Well,
got
when they do, they say naughty things.
true.
Oh, and by the way, I'm still getting calls on Delphi from strangers I don't even know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's wild.
it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just like I'm not dedicated to. I mean, don't
Hey.
get me wrong, but we don't just cover Delphi. We cover.
If you go back
everything.
and listen to our shows through Delphi, which were all amazing, by the way, is that we pretty much lay it out perfectly. So, I mean, like if you had, like, if anything new,
Well,
like,
what
new,
questions
if
would
it-
you have, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
like if
yeah, we
if
solved this
something
one, move on to the
breaking-
next one.
If some big news comes out, then yeah,
Yeah,
like
I mean, you literally just said you've solved everything you want.
Yeah.
So just watch the episode
Right.
and then you just move on.
And let
Once
us
you
know.
solve it, you don't have to go back.
yeah,
right. So
I'm not
well,
saying we're brilliant, but
yeah,
we're
yeah.
brilliant.
Hey, somebody did
All
ask
right.
me at the gym though. They said, "Hey, really? Who do you think the Zodiac killer was?" And I said, "Richard Gaikowski."
yeah, or Lawrence
Go
Kane,
G.
Yeah,
or Lawrence Kane. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for
we love you.
coming out.
Thanks to all my peeps in chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bye.
We will see you next week.